and you get to wear a tux and you get to look like James Bond.
Woo!
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, October 8th, 2015. Time once again for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination Episode 763.
This is No Agenda.
Putting the New World Order on notice and broadcasting live from the future in FEMA Region 6 in Austin, Texas. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I'm in the present, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Oh, man. Wow.
I got a nasty note.
You got a nasty note?
Yeah.
A nasty gram?
Well, it's from the donation.
Oh, do you want to talk about it right now?
Read it now?
Yeah. Are you upset?
Well, let me see if I can get it right here.
Is that how you want? You want to start off with on a negative tone?
Yes, a nasty note. Oh, yes, this is a PS.
Nothing quite like it.
It's from Richard Moffat, who's a common donor.
I recognize the name.
Yeah, he's been around.
Yeah.
He's also part of the random number thesis, which will be discussed later in this show.
Okay.
But this is PS. PS, John, please prep a few minutes before each podcast program.
Okay. What?
It takes me 2.5 hours of prep before we start the show.
What? That's all you do?
Before the show.
Oh,
I mean, I just
okay.
stuff the night before.
I was going to say
during the week, but I'm talking about I get up 2.5 hours before the show, and that's when I just work.
Yeah, and that's 6:30.
Yeah,
for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get up at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Wait a minute. As you get older, don't you just wake up by yourself at 6:30?
Oh yeah, sure.
Isn't that what's supposed to happen? Like, I'm old. I'm waking up.
It begins, but it doesn't seem to be.
All right, John.
There's much sleep, but
John, we got a lot to do today. I've never seen so many distractions in my life. So move on with the negative stuff. Let's get it out.
That's it.
That's it. You should just prep more.
Yeah.
Oh. My goodness. You and I are emailing each other. It was 2 a.m. for me. It's midnight for you. And I'm sure you didn't go to bed at midnight.
For what?
Well, you were prepping last night. You prep. That's what I'm saying.
I know I do all my clips the night before.
Yeah, you prep.
Well, I mean, I get the clips, but then I produce the clips in the morning.
Well, I got to tell you, man. There was just, first of all, I have horrible allergies. It really hit me again.
Oh, here we go again. Yeah. Every year this happens.
Yeah, and it's not, you can't get away from it. It's not in the brochure for Austin, I'll tell you that. It's not in the brochure.
And you claim that everybody has this problem.
Usually not the first year, but the second year you get here, that's when it's going to hit you really hard.
Huh.
Yeah, that's bad.
That means that the environment that you're in wants you to get out.
Only the strongest survive is the way I see it. This is to get the douchebags out. Hey, hippie, get out. Okay, I saw nothing but distractions. I saw companies fighting each other.
I got great distractions.
I see the military-industrial complex doing very, very questionable things.
Well, this is not news.
Yeah, except when they actually go.
Did you see the piece that's floating? I just caught it this morning.
What's that?
About Snowden wants to leave Russia. This is
yeah, I saw this.
This is like propaganda. This is like I'd rather be in prison, than be in Russia.
Yeah, well, this is the extraction part of the operation. Now that he's,
that's what I have to assume that's what it is. It's the extraction part.
Oh, yeah.
I have a great picture which I'm going to put in the next newsletter. I was going to put in the last newsletter, but I didn't. I decided to keep the newsletter a little shorter. Mm-hmm. But in the next news, I have a picture of Snowden. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
When he's a little younger, and he's in his tuxedo hanging out with Michael Hayden, the CIA guy.
That's an old picture. I've seen that before, haven't we?
I don't remember seeing it before.
I think I remember.
And I think it's when Hayden was at the CIA, and that's when he was getting his assignment. And you get to wear a tux, and you get to look like James Bond.
Woo! Yeah. Let me start with the war on crazy, if you don't mind.
No, I don't care.
Okay. The war on crazy is pretty much how I think we view the call for comprehensive gun control measures. And it was very interesting to see how we had this huge vacuum created when Of course, you identified much earlier than the mainstream the hospital that was bombed in Afghanistan. And it was the way I saw this happen is like there was just everyone was like, "Oh, what are we going to do?" And it became really big, and there was this huge vacuum, and then Hillary Clinton slid in with an unbelievable just blanketing of primarily NBC affiliated stations. She was given massive airtime, including Saturday Night Live, and it was well coordinated because, of course, as you know. My name is Mimi on the Hillary Clinton Ready for Hillary emailing list. Thanks a lot, John.
Looking back on that, I think that was an accident.
It was an accident that you subscribed me as Mimi to the Ready for Hillary campaign.
Yeah.
So I get tons of emails, and one of them says, Hillary Clinton is the only person to come up with comprehensive gun control reform plans. Did you see or hear anything comprehensive?
No. You can say that.
Well, you can say it, but if you don't actually publish anything, or if you listen to this to me, really unbelievably insincere woman standing there talking about what she's going to do, I thought it was clip-worthy.
This epidemic.
And for some reason, she recorded this on a 78 RPM record. I'm not sure what happened to the sound on this.
Is she going to wait before you play any more of it? Is she going to discuss the fact that gun violence has actually decreased significantly since the
1990s?
Since the 90s, I guess the 90s.
Let me think. No.
This epidemic of gun violence.
Wait, what's she talking about? There's no epidemic. It's decreased.
Thank you. We'll continue. You just keep interrupting because it's exactly what we need to do.
No boundaries. Knows no limits of any kind.
There's plenty of limits.
All right.
This woman, who laps this up?
Well, Mimi loves it.
Mimi?
Yeah, Adam@curry.com. Mimi.
Oh, that Mimi.
And when this happens, people are quick to say that they offer their thoughts and prayers. That's not enough.
It's not enough.
Oh, no,
How many people have to die?
How many people have to die?
Before we actually act. It's time for us to say, wait a minute, we're better than this. Our country is better than this. But we need to go back and with all of our hearts.
She's got this quiver in her voice, which is really, she's doing a good job on this. Yeah, no, she's, what? This was her town hall. Oh, man, you have, this is.
I missed that.
Oh, I got a couple clips from it.
Working not just in Washington, but from the grassroots up, demand that we have universal background checks. We have to close the loopholes.
Loopholes.
You know, we've got what's called the gun show loophole.
The gun show loophole.
That's a good one.
Yeah, or, check it.
And we've got what's now being called the Charleston loophole.
Oh, that's new. The Charleston loophole.
How is it now being called that? I've never heard of it.
She coined it. This is how you roll. This is what you do.
We also must address the very serious problem of military-style weapons.
Military-style weapons. How about getting rid of military-style cars? That's always bothered me. These square pieces of crap that are roaming around on the streets. Military-style.
On our streets. We have got to keep guns out of the hands of people who should not have them.
Yeah.
Domestic abusers.
Yeah.
People with serious mental health problems.
Yeah, we must make a list. We must make a list. Put you on the list. What is a serious mental health problem? Is Asperger's a serious mental health problem? Is autism a serious mental health problem? Is Tourette's a serious mental health problem? I could be holding a gun and just start ticking, and then the thing would go off. Could kill people.
That could happen. It's actually one of the little. That's one of the kind of one of the things that happened in the movie Spy.
How about
McCarthy?
How about depression?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Because then people will shoot. I'm not going alone.
That's right. So we must make a list. We must have lists to put people on.
I guess we should.
There's got to be a better tracking and record keeping.
Lists.
So many of the parents of these precious children.
Listen to this, John. Listen. Now she's breaking it down into quiver. She's good.
Children.
A psychopath. She doesn't even have any empathy.
Listen.
Tracking and record keeping.
Yes, tracking.
So many of the parents of these precious children who were murdered
Precious.
have taken the unimaginable grief that they have been bearing and have tried to be the voices.
This is part of the. Oh, brother, this is part of that scheme. But that they told Hillary she's got to have more empathy. She's got to laugh more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So they got her now crying on cue. Crying on cue.
The quiver is good, and I want to try and replicate it because she's my master now.
Play it again.
She's my guru.
Sam, play it again.
And have tried to be the.
I've tried. I've tried.
Bill, can you tell me how to do that? I don't know how.
Well,
did you say I didn't
Hillary,
have sex with that woman?
It depends on what the wording, the meaning of the word is. Tried, Hillary.
And have tried to be the voices that we need to hear. Ideally, what I would
Sorry, that was an edit.
love to see is gun owners, responsible gun owners, hunters, form a different organization
Hunters?
and take back the Second Amendment from these extremists.
Extremists? Man, oh man. Oh boy. Okay, that sounds pretty comprehensive to me. I don't know exactly what she said, but it sounds pretty comprehensive.
She said that we need to make lists.
Meanwhile,
Now, I've been a big fan of that, too.
of lists. Have you ever heard of Schindler's List?
I have a checklist for travel. I have a travel checklist, and I'm constantly on the kids, my wife, and everybody else. They travel, and they show up somewhere, and then they go, I forgot
no
my
checklist. You didn't have a checklist.
I forgot my blah, blah.
Yeah.
Well, where was your checklist?
Yeah. So I didn't see this myself, but it was sent to me because I don't watch Bill O'Reilly on the democratically controlled Fox News Network. But he had the publisher of the Roseburg Beacon on the show and got some local flavor and color about what people in the community of the Oregon Community College are feeling about President Obama's using this event for political means. And there's one little gotcha at the end that I want to talk about.
There's a rumor President Obama might go to Roseburg, Douglas County. The funerals start Thursday, and I guess they will extend into next week. How will the president be treated if he does indeed travel to Roseburg?
Well, I think the president, first of all, is not welcome in the community, and that isn't just my opinion. We've talked to dozens upon dozens of citizens, some family members of the victims, our elected officials, and you may have a copy. If you don't, I'd be happy to read from it on the air, that our Douglas County commissioners, along with our Douglas County elected sheriff, who is very popular, and our chief of police, all came to a consensus language about him not being welcome here to grandstand for political purposes.
All right,
and I'd be happy to read that or
don't
share
read it, but just encapsulate why they don't want President Obama to come.
Well, the bottom line, Bill, is that a number of people believe that when the president opened his press conference, we still have finished counting the bodies on the campus right behind me. We haven't identified whose children were killed and whose were not. And even at that same moment, he is saying some people will accuse me of politicizing this issue. And he goes on to say, but it should be. So he not only acknowledged that it could be politicized, he was doing so deliberately. So now he wants to come to our community and stand on the corpses of our loved ones to make some kind of a political point. And it isn't going to be well received, not by our people, not by the families, and not even by our elected officials.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, if that happens, Mr. Jakes, we'll check back. Real quick.
Check this out. Now, so first of all, I don't know if that's really the whole community's feeling, but he references the sheriff, who we've discussed in great detail.
Yeah.
But then he adds this little thing at the end.
Go ahead.
If I may, there's one other thing I'd like to throw in just really quickly. Something else, even on the heels of this rumor the president may come, is that the Westboro Baptists are on their way to disrupt some of these funerals. And we think this is appalling. There's an organized plan to help keep the families isolated from this. But this is just one more potential insult to what these families have already.
What is it with these Westboro Baptists? Now, this is a very, very small congregation. I think it's 30 or 40 people. And somehow they have the funds and they have the means to travel.
They make a lot of money from their signs.
They make money from the signs? The God hates fags signs?
Yeah. I think I'm kidding.
There's licensing, right? There's licensing rights for hats.
They sell the signs. You can, if you find their website, you can buy the signs, and they have posters of the signs, and they have this individual signs, and you can buy them, and they're reasonably priced. And I was looking at them as items of art.
Are they on Etsy? What, you're going to hang a God hates fags art piece in your house?
That's only what. A lot of the signs are quite funny.
That's the one I keep seeing.
Well, that's one of them. Yeah. But yeah, they make a.
Is this maybe because they go out, they protest funerals?
So they're marketing their signs when we see them out there.
You think that's really what it's all about? Is the signs?
It's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, it seems they're more to me like a feminine. Where you can hire these beautiful women who will paint their topless body or their whole naked bodies and protest, because you can hire them. You can hire those guys
with no agenda, painted all over them.
I wonder how much that would cost.
Yeah, probably not as expensive as you think. It's probably cheap, relatively.
So, don't you think it's possible that maybe there's a group just to be a-holes and show up and disrupt things?
Yeah.
Okay. Meanwhile,
they'll sell some signs.
I need a jingle for, but it's a new segment. Wisdom from Whoopi.
Please, no. Nobody out there do that. Nobody do that.
We need a sign, Wisdom from Whoopi.
Sign is different than a jingle.
I said, I mean jingle. We need a sign, too. Give me a sign. God hates Whoopi. Now, I only do this because I do truly believe The View has an audience that's all in, and they listen to these women. It's such a diverse group. I mean, it's such a diverse group of great women, all led by Whoopi Goldberg, who is a gun owner, by the way.
Of course she is. Yeah. Most smart black people are gun owners.
And she has words of wisdom for what we should do about the gun problem and you notice how everyone says this country? This is starting to irritate me. It's usually tacked on to, we have to have a conversation in this country. As if we can't say here or in America or the United States. I'm not sure why that is. It's some kind of weird linguistic thing.
Interesting observation.
You'll see. It's whenever.
Well, I think it's because it's part of a larger meme. And so it incorporates, like, the meme is so rigid that it comes out exactly the same way every time.
It's also so condescending, like you stand above or speak for the. I don't know. It's bugging me. Anyway, here's wisdom from Whoopi.
There needs to be stricter gun laws.
Actually, this is I put this in. Just listen to these crazy women.
There needs to be stricter gun laws. I have guns. I understand how to lock them up. That's the. You need to lock.
I'm sorry. This is I think it's Ray. What's her name? Simone, the Cosby kid. Who's on there?
It's academic.
Yeah. Okay, but then listen to Joy Behar.
I locked them up. Joy Behar's back. That's right.
Joy Behar. Listen to what she says. She is so dumb.
There needs to be stricter gun laws. I have guns. I understand how to lock them up. That's the. You need to lock them up. I personally think you need tougher gun laws, and there needs to be some type of reform.
It's easier to get a license to drive a car than to get a gun, and that's
exactly.
And no one calls her on this. It's easier to get a gun than get a driver's license. That's what she meant to say. What sense does it make? It's easier to get a driver's license than a gun? Moron. Okay, here comes Whoopi.
The biggest thing that you could do with the gun law is you need to say, okay, you want to get 3-4 guns, you want to get a gun? I need to know the background of your family.
Yeah.
I need to make sure you don't have children.
Tourette's in your family.
Or Hitler.
Depression in your family. We need to put you on a list. What is wrong with your family?
Children in your household.
You have children in your household that are crazy like you? Crazy? Do you have autism? Do you have autism?
3-4.
What is it now? 1 in every 3 kids is on the so-called spectrum, which can also mean you're just spinning around, walking on your tippy toes, or you're incredibly intelligent. Now, you got children with autism in the home because they've all been
no guns for you.
No guns for you.
Okay. You want to get 3-4 guns? You want to get a gun? I need to know the background of your family. I need to make sure you don't have children.
Tell Whoopi, der Führer Whoopi.
In your household that can walk over and just get the gun. I need to make sure that your stuff is locked up. I'm a gun owner.
Oh,
you know?
You are.
I own. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I don't. Yes. I mean, I this is not new. This is no. But I'm responsible. I'm a responsible person. I know how to do what I'm supposed to do, and I don't mind them doing a background check on me. I have nothing to hide.
I had nothing to hide.
I got nothing to hide.
I got nothing to hide. Oh, really, Whoopi?
I have nothing to hide. In your vagina.
Oh, sorry. Couldn't help myself.
Play selfies ISO.
Where is okay?
Oh my god, I just really love it.
Oh man, who is that? Who is that?
Nothing to hide in your vagina.
I couldn't help myself. I got punchy around 2 a.m. I couldn't help it. Yeah, it's concerning.
Is that all you got? Is that all you got?
What else can you do? Except for, I put in the show notes just, and this unfortunately now seems to be like a Karl Rove Republican talking point is, hey, just repeal the Second Amendment. So I don't feel good that was our conclusion. Because now, I don't want people to...
yes, it's cropping up everywhere.
Call us Republicans. But it truly is the easiest way, I think, if you really want to get something done.
I think they stole it from us.
Well, he does live in Texas. You never know. Now, there is a very slight light point. Who is this? This is Las Vegas. What is her name? Lawmaker. Here we go. Republican Assemblywoman Michelle Fiore wants to look into the correlation, of course, correlation may not be causation, between SSRI prescriptions and mass shootings, and notes that the most recent shooter's screen name on social media was Lithium Love, which, of course, lithium is used in psychiatric medication. So I recommend that she does not get in any hot tubs or anything. It's not.
No, she better be careful.
She better be very, very careful. Yeah. And there was a story that, and I've been trying to find a video report. When did this happen? This is in Florida. Sarasota County School District in Florida has agreed to pay $200,000 to each of 3 families whose teens died after a principal hypnotized them.
Oh, a great story.
Do you have anything on this story?
No, I got the same story. I read the same thing. Some principal was into hypnosis.
Yeah.
And so he was hypnotizing kids left and right, apparently. They had they didn't like studying, or they hated history, or they couldn't walk and chew gum, and so he hypnotized them. And then for some reason, 2 of the kids went off the rails.
And killed themselves.
And they don't know why. The principal finally left, and now he's running a bed and breakfast or something in West Virginia, which is a place I wouldn't recommend going.
See,
look at this watch I just bought.
But isn't
it interesting?
First of all, the idea that that you can hypnotize someone, I think we discussed this before. Universally, it's like, oh no, it's not possible. You can't really hypnotize people. It's all a trick. And here is the court saying this guy is responsible. But also, if you have, it doesn't mention in the articles I could find if these kids were on any type of antidepressants or on Adderall or Vance. Oh, yeah, it's the Vance. I found out it's not Vyvanse, it's Vance. Are you on the Vance? Do you have any Vance?
What's Vance?
Vyvanse. It's the kid, the millennial nickname for Vyvanse. Vyvanse is Adderall. It's amphetamine, but they call it the Vance.
Is it like Adderall?
It's exactly the same.
Okay. Well, why don't they just call it Adderall?
Because it's a different brand name, and it does work differently.
Sure it does. It's called amphetamines.
Yeah. It
don't work.
It distributes. I think it distributes more evenly over the day or something.
Oh, it's got a time release.
Time release. Yeah.
Fancy.
You got to call it the Vance.
Do you have any Vance on you? Do you have Vance?
Hey, got any Vance? Hey, baby, got any Vance? Yeah.
Well, just okay. Never mind. I don't want to go. But since we're on the shooting, I do have one.
Well, wait. Let me just finish my point. So let's just say some of these kids who committed suicide might have been on the Vance or on Prozac or anything that's prescribed.
That'd never get discussed.
But it would be very easy to make these kids crazy and go shoot up places and then shoot themselves. It seems.
So now you're attack. You think a hypnotist guy?
It's just proving a point that it's possible.
I like the idea, though.
Proving a point that it's possible.
Some mad hypnotist, CIA rogue,
MK Ultra.
is out there hypnotizing kids to go shoot up.
I'm not making MK Ultra up.
I know about MK Ultra, and it's very well documented.
Yeah. And you want to look at MK800 is what you want to look at. That's the medication.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? What specifically is the chemical?
I said that's what you want to look at. I didn't say that I was prepared to talk about it.
Well, you brought it up.
Okay.
So did you see this? There's a piece that just ran on some of the news networks about some guy, and I think he's not in West Virginia. He's in one of those little smaller states where he got special permission to experiment with MDMA.
Mm-hmm. No, I didn't see this.
Ecstasy.
Yeah. I'm familiar.
And he's using it in a therapeutic setting.
Isn't that what it was developed for initially? Isn't that what?
My understanding, that it was originally developed as a blood clot correction. It was some sort of it was something for circulation.
I know that it wasn't even outlawed until well into the 90s, I think.
It took a while.
Yeah, because it's like, and probably because, hold on a second, here's something we can make money off of. And they've been talking about bringing it back specifically for PTSD and for other forms of depression.
Yes, you know this.
I knew this. I didn't know the guy was experimenting in West Virginia.
Well, I think it's West Virginia. I don't know where he is specifically, but it's this guy, and they showed a lot of it. And he's doing PTSD, and he says he cures it with most people, and including soldiers. He's working with them now, and the FDA is overseeing this study, and he is having good results. But they showed a video of it. It's that thing where you got some woman, they're trying to get her, she has some PTSD for some reason. And he's talking to her. She, oh, man, you feel so nice.
Touch me.
It's like unbelievable.
I got to try this stuff one day.
Don't try it. It's not good for your brain.
Well, it's supposed to help you.
Well, yeah, if you have PTSD, I'm sure it's good for your brain in that regard because you've got some real problems. But if you don't have problems and you just want to go on a buzz, I don't know anybody.
Well, my therapist told me yesterday that I probably have some form of PTSD.
Oh, now you're just looking for an excuse to try it. So I get off your case.
I'm not kidding.
You might.
Yeah.
I think it would hurt the show.
Well, if I was on ecstasy while doing the show, it might not be.
It's so good to do the show today. Oh, look at my pop screen feels so good on my lips. That feels good.
All right. You've convinced me. I'll start today. Today.
God.
So on the way back from San Antonio, from my therapy, which I encourage everyone to go into some form of therapy at some point in your life.
I think our show helps a lot of people.
Oh, truly. But even the therapists need therapy, John.
Yes.
And I, as I do, I took Junior Adam to have some junk food because, that's what he likes. And I stopped off at Burger King and I tried. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. I really wanted to see if eating the Halloween.
That black burger?
If it would give me green poop.
I wonder what's in there. I think it's just squid ink.
I don't think it's true. I think it's someone came up with it or it's a native ad. Apparently, up to 3 days after you eat the Halloween Whopper, you have green poop.
I don't think so.
I couldn't do it.
That sounds like an urban myth, if ever there was.
Yeah.
Just to get people to look at their poop.
John, I think it is.
And I bet you it was a German who came up with this idea.
I'm telling you, I think this is a PR campaign that maybe it started by accident, but it's being propagated. Everyone, go look at YouTube. There's people filming their poop.
Oh, I didn't know this. Well,
and it makes sense because
ink, it's not going to turn your poop.
They say it's just green dye. They say it's FDA regulated and approved
it's
green
black,
dye.
Though it's a black bun.
Look, maybe we should both try it.
I'm not trying it. It's unappetizing.
I thought I was going to puke. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I cannot eat this thing.
No. It's unappetizing. I've seen pictures of it, and it's like, who would eat this? It's a black bun.
But don't you think this is a kind of like a PR move at this point for millennials? Because kids love this. If you look at Twitter, I was like, I can't wait to try it just to see if it turns my poop green.
Eat beets and see if it turns your pee red.
Okay.
It's actually, or your poop.
I'm trying to
have internal bleeding.
You know what I was trying to do, and this is the result of a non-rehearsed show. I'm trying to lead you into the McDonald's story. I'm trying to hand it to you on a silver platter.
I appreciate that. Although you completely killed my segue to the clip about the shooting, saying that I had to finish my thing, and now you've changed the subject.
Oh, so after you asked me if that's all I had. All right. Let's just pretend I didn't talk about that at all.
No, I think we should go to the McDonald's clip, but I have the McDonald's thing set up a little differently.
Okay, now, however you like.
The reason what Adam was trying to do there is get me to go from green poop to McDonald's, which is an interesting
logical transition.
It's logical. It's an interesting segue that I wasn't grabbing right away because I was a little annoyed.
I'm sorry.
But now that we're on our way, I will say this, McDonald's, and we did a clip some time ago on ABC, and if you could probably still find it if you look up McDonald's. ABC does McDonald's native ads constantly.
Which one would you like? We have a lot of them.
Are they all McDonald's?
Yeah, like New at McDonald's, Puff Piece, not Puff Piece, McDonald's No Strife.
Play any of them.
Yeah, I think New at McDonald's.
Well, Burger King is dropping sugary sodas from its kids' meals. Instead, it will replace them with fat-free milk, low-fat chocolate milk, or apple juice.
What is that?
And McDonald's and Wendy's have announced similar moves. Also, news today that
No, that's not. Maybe it was this one. You have so many. This happens
it would be ABC
all the time.
Hold you back from breakfast. Do you like the
I do. I always get that one.
Are you excited about the McGriddle being done?
Oh, this one. This is a great one.
This is really good. Are you
this
excited?
is the one on Fox.
Yeah, I might get it at 4 o'clock.
Oh, wait a minute. We're being pushed off by the McDonald's. Oh, all right.
This is your clip. This is the clip we had to play as the final clip.
This is not my clip.
Well, I thought that's the clip that the guy sent us that we had to play. This is people, ladies and gentlemen, caution, show off the rails.
I'm going to stop. I'm just going to follow your direction. You tell me what to do.
Okay, let's go with. Let's just start with the most recent clip on ABC Nightly News.
Hold you back from breakfast.
And this is no.
Which one is this?
ABC worst native ad ever.
Sorry, I don't know what this other one is. Maybe it's my fault.
That's the clip.
And McDonald's tonight finally serving up all-day breakfast. The menu apparently, though, varies by region. Hash browns, hot cakes, available in most places. But the Egg McMuffin not available in parts of the South where they have biscuits instead. When we come back here, the newest Powerball winner.
All right. That is not news. That should be on the network news.
No.
It's an advertisement for McDonald's explaining that they have biscuits instead of muffins in certain parts of the South.
Right.
Which, is interesting information, but McDonald's can pay for a damned ad, although they did pay for a damned ad.
Oh, this is clearly paid for. And
they paid for that.
And Starbucks does the same with the pumpkin spice latte.
I do not want my news cluttered with native ads. I think it's an abomination.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the one that we have, which is the McDonald's clip, which is the one you keep kind of playing, is the kicker to the story, because this is
just so you know, John, I'm going to play it after, because you just accused me. The clip that you said is the one I shouldn't be playing is from March 12th. So maybe it's the same damn thing. So I'm going to play that after we play the clip that you think I was playing.
That would be interesting.
Thank you. I was not playing the clip you thought I was. So,
okay.
So
I'll accept it.
All right.
I accept it.
All right.
So here's what this is supposedly a recent clip that's been going around, and it is a native ad gone bad.
This is
a local station that got the native ad gig.
KTLA in Los Angeles.
KTLA got the gig, so they go into McDonald's to promote bull crap, some of their new products or something, and the McDonald's manager kicks them out.
Hold you back from breakfast. Do you like the
I do. I always get that one.
Are you excited about the McGriddle being done?
Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might get it at 4 o'clock.
Oh, wait a minute. We're being pushed off by the McDonald's. Oh, all right. There's McDonald's controversy going on here. Please go along. I've been shamed outside of the McDonald's.
Was he in the witness protection program?
Wow, was that a breaking news story there, Wendy?
This woman says we can't shoot in here. Oh. All right. We're going out. Private property. Wow. Do they know they're our sponsor? We're coming out.
Wow, good job, McDonald's.
First, I've been kicked out of McDonald's.
All right, no more stories on McDonald's.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Well, you can look in the background. You can go.
Yeah.
They're so confused. They don't know what to do at this point. They're like, what do we do? There's nothing on the prompter.
Start plugging IHOP.
Yeah, I know.
Because this is in the shot.
This was the faux pas.
IHOP serving
I was going to say, I didn't want to say it, but you did. There's IHOP.
Maybe you can go over to IHOP and give them some free publicity all day long. Give me a break.
I'm glad you said
What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
What would have been cool is if they had like some crazed kid at that very moment walk in and shoot it up. That would have been great. That would have been television history. Let's see what that other clip was from March 12th.
Well, Burger King is dropping sugary sodas from its...
That's the one.
You played that one already.
Then I don't know what the other one was, John. I don't know.
Huh. Okay. Well, whatever the case, I think we've made our point, and I use whatever the case liberally.
Yes.
Which is that these native ads are ruining television. They are not acceptable. They're not acceptable.
No. They're not acceptable. They're deceitful.
They're incredibly deceitful. McDonald's is the worst offender. They are doing them, as we saw, they're doing them in local stations like KTLA. I think they've done them on our local stations here. And they just pound us endlessly on ABC Nightly News or Network News, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
NBC News Tonight or whatever it's called. Anyway.
All right. Let me move into something serious.
Because before you do that, I still want to play that clip about the shooting.
Please.
Because it's kind of political. It's a good segue thing. Maybe you can use it as a segue.
You got it.
Ben Carson is under attack.
Yes.
And there's a good, even the National Enquirer's radar, even though National Enquirer.
I saw that.
They're accusing him of being a crappy surgeon.
He left sponges in some kid's head.
Left a sponge in the brain. And by the way, how does that even work? You're doing brain surgery. It's mostly done through, all kinds of optics and stuff. You're not cracking the guy's head completely open and then leaving a sponge in there and nobody noticing. Really?
Right.
Doesn't make sense. Well, but they're out to get him because
but it happens. I mean, all kinds.
Somebody said, I don't. This looks like a hit job to me, and one of our producers suggested, and I have to agree with this, who would benefit from this the most to get rid of this guy? Carly. And Carly Fiorina also was the CEO of HP when they had that woman who's died, the woman who's the chairman of the board, who is Patricia something, I can't quite remember her name, but she's the one who sicked the private detectives on the journalists. And it was a huge scandal in Silicon Valley. Remember that?
Yep.
Carly.
Yeah, she did it when the board was all in disarray. And
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Perkins, Tom Perkins from Kleiner Perkins, who's a notorious venture capitalist billionaire who was married to Danielle Steele, and he's an interesting character. He's kind of a mean-spirited guy. He quit the board of HP because of Carly and this woman. He hated Carly.
And
the family, HP family, hated Carly.
And to accentuate how messed up it was, after that whole strife, Ray Lane, who I know very well, he was my client when I had my first company. He was he COO at Oracle, I think, or president? And
Oracle.
And then later he became probably the only Republican at Kleiner Perkins. And he then went on to run HP, and it was disastrous. And Ray Lane's a pretty good operator. He could not put it together. So she really messed it up there.
Yeah, she's and I believe this thesis that she's behind the Ben Carson smears. She's the only one who really benefits.
I'm trying to figure this out. I keep getting messages from producers out in the wild who claim that she has very high CIA clearance, and that's probably because of her HP background. But there's something to it that I just haven't found yet.
No, she's if you look at her bio, she had a position or some cooperation agreement with the CIA at HP.
There you go.
And she was doing a lot of work at
She
HP.
may have friends still.
I think it was Hayden, by the way, our buddy, Baldhead, who was the guy who warmed up to her, and he provided the NSA with a bunch of computers on a overnight basis where they were designed to go to other customers, and they went to the NSA instead because Hayden needed them. And she's very cooperative with the intelligence agencies, so it wouldn't be hard for her to pull some strings and get an attack on Ben Carson going in every which way. And here's a Ben Carson attack that's on one of the networks. I believe this was, I don't know for sure, but maybe CBS.
From the indications that I got, they did not rush the shooter.
On CBS this morning, Ben Carson doubled down, repeating the suggestion that victims of last week's mass shooting at an Oregon community college could have done more to protect themselves. He apparently didn't know that an Army veteran did in fact try to stop the shooter.
Do you know who Chris Mintz is?
No.
The Republican presidential candidate ignited the firestorm yesterday.
I would ask everybody to attack the gunman because he can only shoot one of us at a time. That way we don't all wind up dead.
The former neurosurgeon posted a provocative defense of the Second Amendment on Facebook, writing, "I never saw a body with bullet holes that was more devastating than taking the right to arm ourselves away." Some rivals, like Senator Lindsey Graham, took issue with Carson's remarks.
I just don't think that's the road to go down in terms of questioning people who have lost their lives, because you have no idea what you would do.
Donald Trump came to Carson's defense.
I thought he was treated unfairly.
The Republican presidential field has largely responded to last week's campus massacre by rejecting calls for stricter gun laws. In Iowa today, Hillary Clinton jumped on their rhetoric.
And then you've got people running for president on the other side who say, well, we just need more guns.
Yeah.
So it's a hit piece.
Oh, obviously.
And they're going to, I think the sponge in the brain thing hadn't caught fire, but it could happen.
It was also, he also, one kid, he operated without permission. It was all kinds of stuff. But it's National Enquirer, so it's likely true, embellished, because these guys are good.
Yeah, but they ran it in Radar, which is their spin-off, spin-off.
That's the farm team.
I don't know that
it's the beta test.
It was actually in the National Enquirer itself.
Yeah. So McCain, I've been following McCain very closely, and I think it started when he brought General Petraeus. As far as I know, do you get to just keep calling yourself a general and wear your uniform no matter how
I don't know about the uniform part. That seems sketchy.
He was wearing his full battle dress, or no, not battle dress. He was all the ribbons and everything.
Yeah, the ribbon dress.
The ribbon. All was lacking was a sash.
Yes.
And when he came, and he had that whole thing about Syria, and he had all these nuclear. It's like, this is worse than a nuclear war. The fallout will be horrible. Using all these nuclear bomb terms. And there's a couple things going on. The first thing, and I'm really going to think there may be a very, very sinister plan at play here. This is something that is not being talked about quite that openly, although I've been waiting to read the full text.
Apparently, the President of the United States believes that he needs to veto the defense authorization bill on the grounds that the budgetary issues have not been resolved. So the President of the United States is placing budgetary issues ahead of the welfare and benefit of the men and women who are serving in the military and their ability to defend the nation. I cannot imagine a President of the United States vetoing a bill that authorizes the ability of Americans to fight this, to defend this nation under these most
interesting slip there. I'm not sure what he wanted to say, but he was to fight this.
Play it again.
The ability of Americans to fight this, to defend this nation.
To fight what?
Under
the nation.
To fight the to fight the nation. Yes, indeed.
What he said. That's what he was going to say.
Yeah.
Defend this nation under these most challenging circumstances. But maybe because of his failure to lead and because of his feckless foreign policy we are in today, maybe he feels that we don't need to have the wherewithal to fight it.
Okay, so McCain is on a mission here, and I'm going to try and follow this thread all the way through. So we had this this bombing of the Médecins Sans Frontières, the Doctors Without Borders hospital, which has been in this particular spot in Afghanistan for a long time. And here's spokeshole Josh Earnest with the official White House statement on this bombing, which was done by a U.S. C-130.
These are brave individuals who are using their skills to try to improve the lives of people that they would otherwise never come into contact with. And the fact that some of those individuals lost their lives over the weekend is a profound tragedy.
Now listen to how he spins this.
And nothing less.
Nothing less. It's a profound tragedy. However,
the scale of this tragedy is significant enough.
Significant enough. But what is it? One person? If one person dies, it's no good. Is it 10? What has to be? It was 20. Is that's significant? What is 19? Yeah.
That it demands a full investigation. And you saw from the president's statement that he issued over the weekend that he expects a full accounting of what exactly has happened. So there are actually 3 different investigations that are ongoing. And each of these investigations will be aimed at trying to get as much accuracy as possible around the details of what transpired in the lead up to this tragedy.
Okay. Now, here's what I know, and here's what I've been conversing with some of our military producers about. You can even take Google Earth, and you can zoom in on places where there's an object, and you can note the GPS coordinates. Now, this is well documented. The entire theaters of war are codified with GPS coordinates. Probably the entire globe is codified with GPS coordinates. And this is in a system when there's a lock, when there's a series of GPS, when the target is painted, and you're going to hear General Campbell talk about this in a second. Regardless of who paints the target, who says this is it, those GPS coordinates go into the system, and if there is something in there that is a friendly target or that needs to be avoided, a known structure, then all kinds of bells and whistles go off, which leaves only a few explanations. One might be, and we may hear this, a cyber attack or someone messed with the system. I mean, it's not willy-nilly. It's not. I mean, you can't believe that there's so much sophistication going on in our military, yet, when we toss out some bombs, we're just throw them somewhere. Pinpoint accuracy. We're completely precision strikes. All of this stuff is all of a sudden now, oops. No, I'm not buying that, and I think it's a lie, and it may be worse. Here's General Campbell.
I would like to discuss the tragic loss of lives in the strike on the hospital in Kunduz. By way of background, U.S. Special Operations Forces have been providing training, advice, and assistance to Afghan National Defense Forces who had been engaged in a tenacious fight with the Taliban.
Tenacious D.
On Saturday morning, our forces provided close air support to Afghan forces at their request. To be clear, the decision to provide aerial fires was a U.S. decision.
Now, this is interesting. He's making it very clear that we decided to do this.
Made within the U.S. chain of command.
Ooh. So the question is, was there a break in the chain of command? Did it come all the way from the top? Where are these decisions made? Who makes the decision to do this? It went through the chain of command.
A hospital was mistakenly struck. We would never intentionally target a protected medical facility. I must allow the investigation to take its course, and therefore I'm not at liberty to discuss further specifics at this time.
That's the transparency you're talking about. Thank you.
Yeah, however, I assure you that the investigation will be thorough, objective, and transparent. I'd also like to remind the committee and the American people that we continue to make extraordinary efforts to protect civilians. No military in history has done more to avoid harming innocents. We've readily assumed greater risks to our own forces in order to protect non-combatants. To prevent any future incidents of this nature, I've directed the entire force to undergo in-depth training in order to review all of our operational authorities.
I don't understand this sentence. They have to undergo in-depth training to understand what happened?
I've directed the entire force to undergo in-depth training in order to review all of our operational authorities.
What?
Very strange, right?
That's a great catch.
Very strange. I'm not sure what this means.
In order to review all of our operational authorities and rules of engagement. Our record stands in stark contrast to the actions of the Taliban. They've repeatedly violated the laws of war.
No, blame it on those guys now.
By intentionally targeting civilians.
Oh,
the United Nations attributes more than 70% of the non-combatants killed and wounded in this war to the Taliban.
Okay. So his message is strange. And he's there and this is, of course, in front of McCain, who then proceeds to pretend to badger him. But just like with General Petraeus, he's only doing it to make a point.
Most of us were taught to believe there's only one option for victory and success of the mission. But you've been asked for options. Dare I ask how many?
So I'm not sure I've been asked.
Huh? Say what?
Dare I ask?
Dare I ask? Well, dare I ask means we already agreed what you'd do.
As for options, really, what I've done is taken a look over the last, since I've been on the ground, the last 14 months, and seen where the Afghan security forces are at in different metrics that we take a look at in order to ensure that they have the right capability.
But is there only one option to achieve the most efficient, the most effective, least in danger of further casualties? I don't understand this. I thought that usually my study of warfare is you develop a strategy and you implement the strategy with a plan.
Do you feel where he's going here, John?
It's not good.
No, well, he's trying to completely discredit the president. And remember, he has the National Defense Authorization Act on the table, which, we really haven't seen everything. We need to. This is $612 billion. This is the mother lode. This is what it's all about in this country. And I said this country where we have this conversation.
You don't say, hey, we're going to have 5 or 6 plans here, 5 or 6 options that we're going to pursue. Most commanders-in-chief that I've ever known of have called their military people together and say, give me the best strategy that we can employ and what's necessary to achieve the goals of that strategy. Am I wrong somewhere? Am I getting something wrong?
Leading the witness.
Dick.
Leading the witness.
I don't think I couldn't comment if you're getting something wrong, sir. What I would say again is that I've provided some options to take a look at the outcomes. Both a train, advise, assist, and a CT capability in Afghanistan post-2016.
So you have been giving them
CT? Counterterrorism. Counterterrorism.
Oh, okay.
Options, plural, right? Not.
He's really trying, because the general is not all that great. McCain wants him to say that the president has no strategy and has asked the high command.
Yeah. McCain
options.
wants him to say something that will get him fired.
The general? The general? No.
He wants the general to say something that will get the general fired. That's why the general's reluctant to say anything.
No, I disagree. No. He wants the general to discredit the president.
That will get him fired.
It will not get him fired. No, this isn't. They agreed to this, John. I think they agreed.
The president agreed to this?
No, McCain and the general agreed.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean the general is still under the commander-in-chief. He could get fired. Pushed aside, sent to Alaska. There's a lot of things you
This sounded more like a setup to me than what you're saying.
Well, it sounds as though he's reluctant to go along with it.
Well, because I think McCain said, I'll do the options word. You just go, uh-huh.
Oh, well,
and the
general won't get fired.
He flubbed his lines pretty much. And here's McCain trying to bring it together.
What most commanders-in-chief that I've ever experienced say, give me the strategy, give me the plan, see what it takes so that we can succeed in the best and most efficient way to accomplish our goal.
Yeah, that's the American way.
And we all know what a goal is a free, stable, democratic Afghanistan.
Bomb them is the goal.
Well, it's curious times, but of course those of us that
here it comes.
Make any criticism apparently don't know a lot of the things that the President of the United States knows.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm feeling this is a setup, and I got to tell you, when you look at what's on the table, it's all about money. $612 billion, whatever's in there, this thing has to get passed. It has to be pushed through. We can't have a lot of analysis. The big distraction is, I'm sorry, we killed doctors, we killed kids, and now we have to completely discredit the president, and then McCain came on to, CNN, and he brought this around to Syria, and I don't know, maybe it's just me. In the next 2 minutes, it sounds like McCain is explaining the entire Syrian issue and not holding back.
President Obama saying on Friday that his administration is not going to make Syria into a proxy war with Russia. Take a listen.
We're not going to make Syria into a proxy war between the United States and Russia. That would be bad strategy on our part. This is not some superpower chessboard contest.
Well, of course it is. And here's what McCain had to say.
My question to you, Senator, is this conflict in Syria already a proxy war with Russia?
Of course it is, and when the president says we're not going to have that, we don't have a strategy. Excuse me, we don't have a strategy.
He has trouble saying strategy.
Well, it almost sounds like he's pushing for a military coup when I put this all together, John. There's something going on here.
To recall the events that took place over the weekend when John Kerry, when we were watching this military buildup, including anti-aircraft missile batteries and fighter aircraft. ISIS doesn't have fighter aircraft, and so that was kind of interesting. But more importantly, John Kerry called Lavrov 3 times to find out what was going on. The president met for 90 minutes with Vladimir Putin. Then 48 hours later, a Russian general shows up at our embassy in Baghdad to give us an hour warning that strikes are commencing. That is treating the United States with disdain and contempt. And, of course, they are hitting the Free Syrian Army enclaves and places which have had some success. This is the CIA-run operations. And they...
Okay, I haven't heard anyone actually admit the CIA is running that.
Wow.
But it gets better.
We want to take them out. What Vladimir Putin and Bashar Assad want to do is provide us with the choice between ISIS and Bashar Assad. But in order to do that, you take out the Free Syrian Army, which, in the case of the DOD-trained one...
Hold on a second. This is the problem. We have rebels. One group of rebels is financed and run by the CIA, and the other group of rebels is run by the Department of Defense. No wonder it's a clusterfuck. I've never heard that admitted either, John.
This guy's got a big mouth.
Which, in the case of the DOD-trained one, group is now down to 4 or 5, approximately $9 million each.
Money.
Hillary Clinton broke with President Obama this week. She called for a no-fly zone over Syria. President Obama was asked about that, and he said there's a difference between running for president and being president. Who do you side with on this idea of a no-fly zone, Secretary Clinton or President Obama?
Here she comes.
Well, obviously, Secretary Clinton, but more importantly, General David Petraeus testified before the Senate Armed Services Committee not too many days ago, where he really laid out a strategy of what we need to do, which many of us have been calling for a long time.
Okay, so we have the...
Hold on a second. Let me just ask the obvious question. So at this point, they want to create a no-fly zone, so if a Russian jet, which are flying all over the place... flies around, they're going to blow the Russian jets out of the air?
They will engage.
Is that what they're advocating?
That's what Petraeus advocated, yes. And then...
What are these people, clinically insane?
Yes. Hello, Captain Obvious.
He really laid out a strategy of what we need to do, which many of us have been calling for a long time.
And listen to his candor and his demeanor. He is very relaxed. Normally, he's like, I can't believe it, man, this president. And now I'm really calm because I think I've got it all in the pocket.
Stop the barrel bombing, establish a no-fly zone, arm the Kurds, get some forward air controllers at work there, build up the Free Syrian Army again, and it's not too late. This flood of refugees is a direct result of our failed policy.
Okay.
It was a year ago. The president said our goal was to grade and destroy ISIS.
To grade? Like they're in Common Core? No.
We have made no progress there. And, of course, we now see Vladimir Putin inserting himself into the Middle East in a way that Russia has not been since Anwar Sadat threw the Russians out in 1973. He is maintaining his base, and he is now dictating the pace of events in Syria, which is, of course, an abdication of American leadership.
All right, abdication of American leadership. I think the other boot, so to speak, is yet to drop, but well,
I think the funny clip which I have here, which he didn't bring up, which is really the telling clip.
Mm-hmm.
I consider my clip. This is the one that is not this. You can find this story, but you will not find it on any of the network's news. You didn't find it on any of those talk shows. You didn't hear McCain talk about it. But this is the real issue right here. Suppressed story about Russia.
Iraq may request Russian airstrikes against Islamic State on its soil soon, as the country wants Moscow to have a bigger role than the U.S. in the war against the militant group. Mm-hmm. That is according to the head of Iraq Parliament's Defense and Security Committee on Wednesday. Hakim al-Zamili said the decision may be made in the coming few days or weeks, depending on Russia's success in Syria airstrikes. Baghdad views U.S.-led coalition airstrikes are ineffective and hopes Moscow could play a bigger role in fighting against ISIL. Zamili also hoped the intelligence sharing mechanism between Russia, Iraq, Iran, and Syria could transform into a joint operation in the future to fight against ISIL.
There's an interesting little foreign policy flub.
So the way I see it, the military. So the military is in Syria. With the Defense Department, the CIA is in Syria. Those two, they must be at odds with each other.
Well, if we're going to go back to our original thesis and the old report, the CIA is ISIL.
Yes.
And they are in Syria.
Yes.
And this is what I think is causing the big stirs. We can't start killing our
own guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because they're mercenaries.
And everybody talks about, we're ineffective against. Yeah, we're ineffective against ISIL because we are ISIL.
Yeah,
which is what Iraq has now figured out. This is a really screwed up situation, and I think McCain is. I think not what you're thinking. I think McCain is just given up.
Oh, okay. No, the way
that would account for his demeanor too.
The way I judge it is he has not given up. I'm going to say that this attack, this. Mistaken bombing of the hospital was not a mistake. It's just not a mistake. It was meant to show incredibly crappy leadership, abdication of American leadership. He used that word, abdication of American leadership. And all of this while the National Defense Authorization Act needs to be passed. And it may just only be about the money. You say, hey, you don't know what you're doing. Let us do it. We've got it down. We just need you to pass. Well, you're not going to pass this? And then you're going to Vladimir Putin. And by the way, Vladimir Putin, like, come on, man. It's not that far to Russia. He doesn't want the crazies.
I am actually stunned that Putin didn't get into this deal earlier. It's his guy.
I think he was smart to wait. I think it was very smart to wait.
I'm not. Well, I mean, he did kind of get in when he took care of the
let's look at
gas.
Let's look at some other history. Let's look at Ukraine. So, what happened when McCain and what's her face, Noodle Bucket, Victoria Nuland, they went in and they set up the putsch. They set up the takeover of the Ukrainian government. And subsequently...
And Brenner was roaming around, which is the one CIA, that really makes you roll your eyes.
And subsequently, Putin gets Crimea. You'd almost think McCain is working for Putin the way he does things. And the way it rolls. Oh, so Putin just waited? Oh, thank you. You created all that vacuum over there. I'm going to jump into Crimea. Hey, thanks for creating this crazy vacuum over here in Syria. I'm just going to move in.
It was ours all the time.
And then this report, this is a good one.
Armed police arrest a man in Moldova. Another swoop by the authorities in Eastern Europe, cracking down on groups selling radioactive material to Middle Eastern extremists. In the suspect's car is cesium, a deadly chemical.
And they're showing a glass vial, John. A glass vial wrapped in a handkerchief. And this is
the guy's hands going to be
cesium.
He was specifically seeking a buyer from the Islamic State group. This incident happened in February 2015. Authorities working with the FBI have foiled 3 other similar attempts in the past 5 years by gangs with suspected Russian connections. Moldovan police have repeatedly gone undercover to infiltrate deals. The country has become a thriving black market in nuclear materials, driven by criminal organizations.
Speak English.
Though some have been arrested, the kingpins of the deals have escaped capture and evaded long prison sentences.
So, this hasn't caught fire yet. I'm not sure why, but to have smugglers selling cesium to ISIS so they can make nuclear bombs? Come on. Is it that easy, John?
I have no idea. I have no expertise in selling cesium.
And the white,
I don't think that's you. I don't know if you would. I think a dirty bomb is all you could get out of that.
And the White House is so clueless, and I think this really shows that they were caught off guard by all this, like 1-2 punch. They're so clueless that they're reverting back to the stupidest memes ever.
But I think there's one premise of your question that I would disagree with. I don't think President Putin is playing chess. He's playing checkers.
Please. Really?
No, we said this gag.
We back to that again.
There's a bunch of editorial cartoons showing that.
Like, really?
It's like Putin sitting on one side of the chess table and Obama's got a checkers piece on his side.
Yeah.
And then he moves it and says, "King me" or something, whatever.
Yeah. And then somehow,
I think we first heard that meme like 5 years
it was a while ago. It was was it 5 years ago?
At least it's old.
Let me see. It was McCain, I think, who said, no, it was Obama, actually. Here it is. This is January 29th.
So let me move you on to the other big story that we've had, and that is your reach out, or Cuba's reach to you and your reach to Cuba.
Fuck, I don't want to go through the whole thing, but apparently Obama says Putin is no chess master, he's playing checkers. So they use that in January.
Huh.
And here's another one in February. I don't know what this is.
I do think it is.
No, I don't care. But it's an old meme, and they're just resurrecting it. And that's pathetic.
Yeah, I'd say.
It's really pathetic. And then on all of this, something that we've been talking about for maybe a year at this point, about the Nike shoes and the Toyota vehicles.
I actually have a clip that runs down the entire Toyota story.
I would love to hear this.
And this was on ABC, and I think this was the most complete report, and it has all the humor, at least from our perspective, of this story. That, of course, we spotted the Toyota trucks when, I don't know how
it was
long.
It must have been a year ago.
It was way longer than that.
Really?
And it was before ISIS. It's when we started. There was these incursions of this kind of. When I think it was even maybe during the bomb crisis, we started seeing these Toyota trucks everywhere with the and it was the good guys and the bad guys had them, and they had the machine gun mounted on the back of the truck,
and they were brand new.
Not all of them.
Oh, the ones on parade when we were talking about it, they're all shiny.
Yes, those are all brand new. But I'm talking about the early days when we first started seeing the Toyota logo everywhere.
Okay, gotcha.
Now this is on ABC, so there's an element. And you'll hear it at the beginning of the report of native advertising, although I don't know if they sold anything to Toyota, but they may as well have the way they start this report when they go to the correspondent.
We turn now to a question being asked by American authorities after so many videos and images of ISIS. U.S. counterterrorism officials asking, why are ISIS fighters driving so many similar trucks, and where are they getting them from? Look at these images. ISIS fighters riding in Toyota pickups and Toyota Land Cruisers. Authorities now asking the automaker, can they help officials figure out why ISIS has so many Toyotas? ABC's chief investigative correspondent Brian Ross looking for answers tonight.
The Toyota Hilux pickup is one tough truck.
as the BBC auto show Top Gear demonstrated.
Here it is!
Seemingly indestructible, which has made the Toyota Hilux a truck of choice in war zones around the world, including by ISIS.
I loved how he said, it's the truck of choice for all terrorists around the world. Get your Toyota Hilux now! Now with special machine gun 50 caliber mount.
Their propaganda videos show convoys made up mostly of Toyota Hilux pickups.
Remember, was it Jump for Toyota? Wasn't that the campaign?
I don't remember that.
Land cruisers. And now ABC News has learned that a U.S. Treasury counterterrorism unit is asking Toyota to help them determine how so many of its trucks, both newer and older models, have ended up in the hands of ISIS.
And please pay no attention to the weapons they're using, the tents they use, or any other material, which is all U.S. stuff.
Yeah.
It's all U.S. stuff. How do they get it? Duh. In the U.S. State Department buy 45 of them and ship them over somewhere?
There are too many that could be just stolen.
Former American diplomat Mark Wallace, who now runs the Counter-Extremism Project, says he suspects ISIS supporters are buying many of the trucks from Toyota dealerships and then turning them over to the terror group.
We believe that sales are being diverted from these dealerships in order to support ISIS. I think it's a concern to the United States government and our allies.
The Iraqi ambassador to the United States says ISIS has hundreds of brand new Toyotas in its fleet.
How could these four-wheel drives, with hundreds of them, where are they coming from?
Toyota says it does not know how ISIS is getting its vehicles and that it is impossible to control indirect or black market sales. But no one from Toyota would agree to appear in our report. And when we went to last month's big Toyota dealer meeting in Las Vegas, hotel security officials flashed lights into our camera lens and ordered us to stop taping or else.
Sir, if you could just walk right out this way.
And Brian with us now. We just want to make this clear. Toyota says it doesn't know how ISIS is getting its hands on these trucks.
That's right, David. In a statement to ABC News, Toyota says it is not aware of any of its dealerships violating the company policy not to sell to terrorist groups. All of this, David, is part of a broad U.S. effort by the Treasury Department to keep ISIS from using its huge supply of cash to equip and resupply its terrorist army.
All right, Brian Ross and your team, thank you.
So,
this is a comedy show.
You know, I cannot believe for a single second, just like Volkswagen, where the Volkswagen fraud was known for at least a year in public domain by the BBC, not by any just show, but by Newsnight. This is not like news to these people. There's a reason why it's happening right now. You can't tell me that all of these analysts and military personnel, that only now they're saying, there's a lot of Toyota trucks there. Come on. Is it Chevy Truck Month yet? Maybe it's a sale to switch out. What do you think it is?
I don't think they're going to switch. Well, we've seen attacks on Toyota before.
Yep,
with the out of control cars and all the rest.
Yep.
I have no idea. I just know it did happen. Just happened. Although they obviously picked up on the idea a little while ago, since they went to the Toyota dealers thing last month. That means that the story had to be underway at least.
Good catch.
At least 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe longer. But it all came at once. I mean, and it didn't come with just ABC at once. It came with all of them at once. Every network, every meme on the internet, all the tweets and everything is bang, 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 all within the last few days. It wasn't like 3 weeks ago when they obviously got.
Could there be? Do you think there could be economic sanctions, or there could be something done against Toyota? Could it harm Toyota?
No,
other than
they're not going to be able to do anything. I don't know what the point of it is. I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't think this is an accident. I
don't think it's an accident either. Not because the stories are so prepared weeks and weeks ago, obviously, from what he said, and all came together at the same time, all within the last week. All of a sudden, every news outlet, bang, 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 just like clockwork. When you see coordination like that in the news media, something's
up, right?
Something's up. Somebody's pushing the button. So. But we have to think about it more, and then we'll come up with it. We always get to the bottom of everything.
Yeah. It seems a bit far-fetched to think it's just all of this is coordinated for the American auto industry. We get rid of...
It does seem far-fetched, and it's pretty desperate. And it seemed like more of a...
Have you seen our American automobiles? Desperate times call for desperate measures, my friend.
Maybe. Play selfies, ISO.
Yeah, that is definitely a keeper.
Oh my God, I just really love it.
Okay, all right. And I think we've handled the military-industrial complex.
Part 1.
You got part 2?
Not now.
Okay.
But it'll be shortly after we do our thanks.
Well, then let me thank you for your courage and say, in the morning to you, John C. Dvorak.
In the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, subs in the water, feet in the air, and all the dames and knights out there.
In the morning to our artists. You can always find them at noagendaartgenerator.com. Submissions come in right after the live stream. It really is astounding how well our artists are able to tie into memes discussed on the show and then put it into art. We had 400,000 A-bombs with the title of episode 762. And I think we used an older piece of art. It was the Volkswagen logo in the crosshairs.
Yes.
It's a nice piece. It was by 20 Watt Bulb, and we appreciate his
Well, I want to credit, I'm going to start crediting people for the newsletter art.
Yeah.
I know I've been saying this.
Because you use the birth control certificate.
I used 3 art pieces, actually.
Okay.
Because I did 2 art pieces as spot art. So I have from a Cesium 137 was the birth control certificate, which is a running gag. Also, the Obama picture from Melvin Gibstein. And then the other one, which I think is a good piece, actually, looking back on it, is the EU Civil War. It shows the EU flag and then it has a rebel and a Confederate-looking soldier in front of it, which is Civil War oriented. And that was, of course, a good piece from 20 Watt Bulb. We want to remind people, by the way, don't put the show numbers on the art because then you will never get, if they get passed by, they can't be used in the future.
And also, people are pretty good about it. Don't put our heads on it. We're tired of that. Also, I do want to thank...
We have not run ahead of either one of us for a while. 5 years, maybe.
Also, in the morning to everyone on the stream, noagendastream.com. Good to see you all showing up for the live show today.
So we want to thank a few people. Let's start with Kevin B66, the Sir Black Balls of Twit.
From Chicago.
Chicago. And he says, a.k.a. Sir Black Balls of Twit, checking in to double up my knighthood in honor of Adam getting blackballed from Twit back in 2012. Sir Semper Tyrannis, from the Book of Knowledge, the phrase has been invoked historically in Europe and other parts of the world as an epithet or rallying cry against the abuse of power.
Sic Semper Tyrannis.
And that would go good on artwork.
Yeah. So he's doubling down. And
he's doubling down, so he's actually a baronet, I believe.
Yes, he is.
I think he would like some karma.
Okay, happy to hand that out to him, no problem.
You've got karma.
Now we have an example of this. I think is one of our best shows for an example of the random number theory, where all out of the blue, a bunch of people do the same thing. In this case, it starts with Sir Thomas Nussbaum, he's going to be Duke, he claims, by the 13th of October. And he's one of our high-end patrons. He actually submitted 2 checks. One for the 310.26 and 210.26. So he actually needs to be both an executive producer and associate executive producer. Eric combined them.
Okay.
He combined them for...
into one. Gotcha.
To one, because he only had one note, which was Duke by 13th October. So he will be... Let's give him some karma while we're at it.
You've got karma.
Sergina Tulyev in Austin, Texas, $333.33, would like to ask for some relationship karma. And with this donation, he becomes the Duke of the Southern United States.
Wow. Right here in Austin.
Yeah, and he's also the sheriff of Texas. He wants us to choose a jingle to play. And
he also wants relationship karma, you said?
And a call out to Duke Melanson.
Okay. What do you want to play for him?
I would like to play a Hillary clip. I think he died, he laughed, we came, he laughed, he died, I think is a good one. Followed up with the other laugh.
Okay, then we will... We'll make that the double shot. I'm all in. I was going to have the laugh, and actually, I'll add one more for you.
So, that is the land of unconfirmed.
Yes, we came, we saw, he died.
Did it have anything to do with it?
Oh my God, I just really love it.
You've got karma.
Yeah. I'm all on that selfie one. That's good. I like it. Thank you very much, Sir Gene. Fantastic.
Sir James Dobler in Wiley, Texas. I don't even know where that is. $333.33. Hi, John and Adam. This is my third donation at $3.33, so he can be, if you can spare the penny.
Oh, of course.
This will
I got it.
You got the penny there? There you go. Complete his lifelong dream of becoming a knight by my 33rd birthday, October 9th. So put him on the birthday list if he's not on that.
Okay, all right, I'll do that.
James Dobler. To celebrate this occasion, I'd like to hear a Brolf, followed by a Hillary cackle, and a calm down scream.
Okay.
Thank you for your courage, James. Previously, 3 times he's got his numbers.
Dr. Fauci, thanks so much, as always, for joining us.
Good to be here, bro.
Oh, the karma stopped. The scream stopped the karma.
You've got karma.
All right. James Dobler. Let me just double check, make sure he's on.
All right, so here we go. We had the Sir Thomas Nussbaum with his 2 donations. Richard Moffat, who told me to prep more, sent in 1, 2, 3 checks.
Huh.
No one has done that before. No one has ever sent in multiplicity of checks.
Are they all dated on the same day?
Yeah, they're all the same date. One's for 101.15, one is for 100, and one is for 100. And at the bottom, one says John's prescription. I don't know what that is. The other one is following, I don't know what that, Adam's gasoline. And then the third one for 101.15 is, funny, I don't know how to get to this odd number. It was probably the way I sent it in, for no agenda. So that's 3 checks totaling actually $300.15. It's wrong on the spreadsheet. And he had the note which was condemning me for not preparing enough. And where's the rest of the note? I had to move it around. Here it is.
There you go. That's what he's talking about. Where's your prep? You're looking for the note. You're not prepared.
He said that at the 1 hour and 38 minute into the program, Adam mentioned this is all handwritten, the something executive project maneuver. It was about behavioral science. In other words, brainwashing. Oh, okay. Something around that. We didn't change behavior modification to brainwashing. Anyway, we want to thank him. Let's give him some karma for being so grumpy.
You've got karma.
Then, just to prove the random number theory, Squire Stickton in Houston, Texas, sent in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 checks.
That's a record.
So we
are they trying to skirt some terrorism funding laws or something? They're probably protecting us.
Money. It has to be $10,000 or something for anyone gives a crap.
They're probably protecting us.
He got $52.80 for the Mile High Club. We have to put him on there by hand. Then he got the Mile High Club a second time. And then something, 8th anniversary, $80 donation, which the $250 round of $13.40, and then a happy birthday, Adam, $51.
Oh, thank you.
And all separate checks. Again, this has never happened before. And in this case, we have 3 multiple donations and a bunch of checks, a whole bunch of checks. And he sent a note in, which says... my first donation, I was hoping for some anonymity, but it was not meant to be. Fortunately, my last name was misspelled and mispronounced. I have since grown comfortable with the new spelling. So until I achieve knighthood, which he's working on, I request my spousal unit to refer to me as Squire Stickton, attendant to the Knights of the No Agenda Roundtable. In this electronic age, I seldom need to write checks, but I'm including several to save you a few pennies on the PayPal charges, more than a few pennies, and to identify where I want some of the donation credited. And he says, gives him half the way to knighthood. The spousal unit and I are very entertained by your fine show.
And we thank you for your courage.
Onward to Christopher Dolan, who comes in as an associate executive producer. Squire Stockton's associate executive too. This was $250 total. Brookline, Massachusetts. That's 21026. which will be a double. Both of these guys get doubles.
There was something going on in Brookline.
It's always something going on in Brookline. It's a happening place.
It's filled with morons.
Yeah, there's a lot of morons in Brookline.
Do you want to hear the Brookline story?
But Christopher Dolan's not one of them.
No, of course not. Do you want to hear the Brookline story?
Yeah, sure.
Brookline teacher Larry Chen, serenaded by students as he leaves town hall. He's trying to save his job, which is now on the line, and that has his pupils very upset.
He teaches with the most passion I have ever seen in a teacher.
As soon as I heard, I was in tears. It was so devastating to find out that
this is an 8th grader. What is this?
Such a beloved teacher could have been taken away from us in that way.
Now, what do you think the offense was for this teacher, John? What do you think the teacher did to
Groping.
Groping? Okay, that's one. You can have 2 more guesses if you want.
Okay, groping would be one. The other one, tweeting, bad tweets.
Bad tweets, bad tweet behaviors. And
that happens a lot now.
Yeah, it could have been, but no. What else would you say? Now he's been
late, being late to school.
Being late. Okay, so he's been pushed aside for 3 weeks now, either for A, being late, B, A, groping, B, bad tweeting, or C, being late.
An unconventional teacher, Chen, has been out of the classroom a couple of weeks. Word is he was overheard using the longer version of the phrase BS in an after-hours conversation with high schoolers.
What?
Has Brookline gone insane?
The guy said bullshit and they fired him?
Yep.
Yeah, that's bad city.
If there's more to it, nobody's saying because of confidentiality. Students left class and marched from the school to town hall, joined by parents.
I want to make sure that this is a fair trial and that he's given real...
I know. These mothers...
He's under indictment?
These mothers are nuts. They're nuts.
Wow.
This is a fair trial and that he's given a real chance and that people appreciate what an incredible teacher he was and is.
For now, no decision on Chen's future.
Ooh, okay. Because he said bullshit. Out of school.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Borderline clip of the day.
Yeah. Well, I'll tack it on to the karma for the last donation.
Okay. That was Christopher Dolan. And Chris, do something about this problem. Sir Robert Goshko, our Baron of Strathcona County, is Sherwood Park, Alberta, Canada, 21026. ITM, John and Adam. Wow, 8 years has been quite a ride from the beginning to keep it going for at least 8 more. Can I get a clippity-clop? Almost too delicious to believe. Little girl, yay, karma shot. Sir Roe Baron of Strathcona County.
Okay, clippity-clop, delicious to believe, and little girl, yay. And I will tack on the borderline clip of the day.
It's clippity-clop, just clippity-clop.
It's almost too delicious to believe, my friend.
Yay!
You've got karma.
And they wouldn't even say the word either. They said that the extended version of the would be BS.
BS. Yes, because it's such a horrible word. Or the ruder version of bull crap. You could have done it different ways.
Brother. Christine Zachman in Lost Wages, Nevada, $210.26. She says that will be her. Let me click on this. This donation will start my husband, Gary Zachman's quest for the no agenda knighthood.
Oh, that's love right there, man.
Isn't that great?
That's love.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
That'll conclude our group of executive and associate executive producers for show 763, I believe.
Yeah, 763 is correct.
And we remind people we do have a short little couple days before we have to do another show on Sunday. So if you can go to Dvorak.org/NA, it would be greatly appreciated.
And these credits are real. There's nothing different from Hollywood credits except for you feel good about helping our show. You don't get to hang out and walk the red carpet. But I think executive producership for a
sneak into a red carpet anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And of course, we need everybody out there doing some very important work. You know what it is. You got to propagate the formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
go. I've discovered something I think might be interesting about the migrant crisis.
Okay.
Which is really coming to a head. In the Netherlands, there were a very angry crowd of citizens of this rather small village who were promised that they would only, I think initially it was, we're going to set up an asylum, they call it Asylum Seeker Center. But of course, this will be used for the migrants, sometimes now called refugees in Euroland. And initially, they said, we're going to have 1,400. Now, you have to understand that there's a number of these
I can see this
centers.
coming.
Oh, yeah. There's a sports ground, and parents don't want their kids to go play soccer there anymore because of migrants, refugees, whatever you want to call it. They're worried, and this is before any of this the Middle East migration took place. They had already agreed with lawmakers. Okay, we'll make it 700. And then they said, well, we got this problem. We have to take our quota of these people. So we're moving it back up to 1,400. And people lost their BS. And they attacked an official car, like some local official attacked their car.
What country is this?
The Netherlands, Holland, the Netherlands.
Huh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's just people do not. It's interesting there's a Kickstarter now which is run by Kickstarter and the United Nations Refugee Agency. But I wanted to clip it, but there's really nothing there. But the way it's portrayed, you see people who want to walk to the Austrian border, or they want to get to the Austrian border 180 kilometers. They have infants. Of course, this is what's shown in the video. And what was fascinating to me is they decided at a certain point after 4 days of camping out, they're saying, hey, they lied to us. They said they were going to take us. They put us on trains to camps. Haven't heard that before in Europe. And said, so we're not going to walk. And so the kids have blisters. They're crying. They're falling down. There's nothing to eat. And they're walking on the side of the highway. And there are just cars just going by, and no one gives a crap. No one gives a crap. The Europeans, and I'm generalizing, are assholes. It's really incredible. But of course, it's all born out of fear and they misunderstanding. They don't know what's going on. I just just take the other side of this. I did see some interesting stories that were Europeans that were going out of their way to help people and making a fuss about the fact that what you're saying is generally true, but they were helping. But there were a minority of. Yeah, then the migrants attacked them and stole their food and pushed them to the ground.
That would make the story more interesting.
Oh, that's happening. There's all
I'm
kinds
sure
of
it does.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody is a good person.
But here's what I stumbled onto. If you go to EU.info. Now, we've been trying to figure out who was providing the information. Was it a secret map? Did guys go into the camp in Turkey and say, hey, we're going to open up the doors and, I've got to get out and move on. And these people, they have smartphones. They have Wi-Fi devices. Give
me the URL again.
W2, that's number 2, EU.info. Independent information for refugees and migrants coming to Europe. And this is a full site with maps, with addresses, where you
Where'd
go.
You get this? This is a good find.
Well, wait until you find out who's behind it. So W2EU.info provides information to refugees and migrants that might be useful on their journey to and through Europe. We want to give access to counseling and useful contacts in different European countries.
I wonder how they expect these people to get to Iceland, which is on the map, but okay.
Yeah, but every country you would need is in here.
Wow, this is a great one,
isn't it?
Oh yeah.
And here, active participation. Spread this site and link it. We are always in need of translators from English into French, Arabic, and Farsi. The web guide is a work in progress. If you have any other special information, don't hesitate to send us your material. Now on the about, that is the about. Let me see. Was there anything about them specifically? Traces Through Europe is a growing exhibition starting at the outer borders of the Europe. It's called Traces Through Europe. Traces Through Europe is telling the story of those who are on their journey through Europe. They talk about successful arrivals without a fingerprint registered and about their precarious future of forced return.
A book and a documentary in this deal.
So I did some research on this, and it turns out that this is, because I did some who is lookups, the typical stuff. It's not all that hard to do. And it turns out that this is run by bordermonitoring.eu. So we should probably go to bordermonitoring.eu. And I think this is multiple language site, or you can at least translate it. Is it in German? Only in German? No, it can't be. But they claim to be the parent organization. And so I dove into that one. And guess who was funding bordermonitoring.eu and thus subsequently W2EU.info?
Okay.
You can already guess.
Soros?
Yup. Yup. It's part of the Migrants' Rights Network, migrantsrights.org, and they provide the funding to bordermonitoring.eu and thus are the ones creating this information for the refugees.
Yeah, encouraging it.
Encouraging and giving them the map, giving them the entire plan.
This is how these guys could do all this.
And your thesis, which we talked about a couple shows ago, is that why does a guy like Soros do this? And it's to create this massive confusion. He wants
you can make money. You want chaos. If you know how to trade on chaos,
which he does,
which is an art.
Yeah. Trade on chaos.
Millions and billions. He may probably make a fortune on this deal.
And what would the investment be, or how would he do that?
I don't know, because I don't know how to trade on chaos, but I would think.
Is this a known term, trade on chaos? I like it a lot.
I don't know if it's a known term, but people trade on different kinds of things. And chaos would be one of them. I like it.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, the guy's unbelievable.
He's all
Beck
over
was
it.
right.
And
the only thing Glenn Beck was ever right about.
And it's because, we
got him fired from Fox.
Because, saying whenever you say, George Soros, Open Society Institute, people go, you're a conspiracy theorist, crazy. Well, not really.
People bitch about the Koch brothers.
It's really unbelievable.
Koch brothers! It's funny that you mentioned that conspiracy theory, conspiracy theory, and just thinking that Soros is behind everything. But meanwhile, that same person will be on board with all the Koch brothers.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
They're funding all the Republicans. Exactly. They're horrible.
Was not discussed as the situation in Lebanon.
This is the front line in the refugee crisis. After more than 4 years of civil war in Syria, neighboring Lebanon says it can no longer act as a buffer zone for those fleeing the fighting. As Europe worries about its crisis, one is at breaking point here, where 1 in 4 of the population is now a refugee. And there's no official places for these families to go, so often they end up living in unsafe, abandoned buildings. They live wherever they can, and as months turn into years, tensions with the local population are increasing.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong with that?
Nothing. I think you can. I was thinking ever since you brought that question, what can you trade on? I think you can trade on bonds. I think you can short bonds, government bonds.
This is something we could bring up with Horowitz.
I'm going to talk to Horowitz.
Trade on chaos is a good term, and I'm going to copyright it for you.
Okay, thank you. I'll write a book.
Yeah. Right after the vinegar book.
A little bitty book.
Can't wait for that.
It'll be a small book. It won't be a big book. Trade on chaos.
So maybe it's appropriate now to play the most recent performance from Nigel Farage in the yes. Starfleet Command.
There was a link to it in the show notes if you want to hear it on your own machine sometime. But I thought it was a gem. And that's where I got the picture. In the newsletter, you see the picture of
Merkel and Hollande.
And Hollande is leaning away from her. This body language thing is so obvious. Mm-hmm. And then Hollande got up later and just gave a pretty good speech, kind of trying to counter what Farage said. Mm-hmm. But it was kind of a utopian type speech.
And what Farage does here is he really leans into the violent past of Europe, in particular between France and Germany.
Yes, he's trying to goad them.
And we know that if you want strife in Europe, all you got to do is have Germany attack France. That's how it always starts. Have we done this twice in a row?
It's also you go back far enough that French attacked the Germans. I mean, Napoleon wasn't being attacked by the Germans.
He was not a nice guy.
It goes back and forth.
Yeah.
Thank you. Nobody in their right minds would not agree that it was a sensible thing to do to get France and Germany together round the table to break bread with each other, to have a trade deal with each other back in the 1950s, and to work as sovereign democratic nations together for peace. All of that was absolutely right and high-minded. Sadly, the whole thing has become corrupted. Tony Blair said the EU today is no longer about peace, it is about power, and how right he was, and how that power has shifted. When Kohl and Mitterrand came here representing their countries 25 years ago, it was a partnership of equals, but no longer. France is now severely diminished, trapped inside a currency, frankly, from which she can't recover, and the French voice in this relationship and in Europe is little more now, frankly, than a pipsqueak. We're living...
I'm not sure. Is there another historical? I tried to find it. Another historical meaning behind pipsqueak? Is that something horrible about someone who buckled the pressure for Hitler or something?
I don't think so. I think it's really just a common term that's used that means a little diminished person, that's
little man
squeaking.
Wait, how tall is
Farage had? Must have set this up. He had some of his stickers, Independence Party stickers, and then he had a bunch of people behind. He had a whole group around him that was just chortling and clapping at everything he said.
Hollande is 5'7". Does that count as a pipsqueak? I don't think so, really.
5'7" for a male. You can be borderline petite male at the,
petite
possible.
Petite male.
Petite male.
I'm hi. Welcome to the Gap. Yes, you have anything for petite males?
That's an actual term.
And in Europe is little more now, frankly, than a pipsqueak.
The Brits liked it.
Living, and it's an irony, isn't it?
I didn't know he was. Now that you mention, I didn't know he was 5'7". So I think that was
I think it's a slang. I think it's an insult.
Project that was designed to contain German power has now given us a totally German-dominated Europe. Woo! Just look at the euro. Germany has a currency that is undervalued by 20%, a growing and massive trade surplus, and most growth in the German economy since the collapse of 2008 has indeed been in exports to other Eurozone countries, such as your very big arms sales to countries like Greece. And when we have a general election that says a country like Greece wants to change direction, well, I'm sorry, but that now must be brushed aside because the Germans don't want it. And in what must count as perhaps the worst piece of public policy seen in modern Europe for half a century, when you compounded the already failing and flawed EU common asylum policy by saying to the whole world, please come to Europe, and we saw, frankly, virtually a stampede. And we learn that 80% of those that are coming are not Syrian refugees. In fact, what you've done is to open the door to young, male, economic migrants, many of whom, I have to say, behave in a rather aggressive manner, quite the opposite to what you would ever expect to see from any refugee. And yet when that failure is met by objections from countries like Hungary, their opinions are crushed. This isn't a Europe of peace, it's a Europe of division. No. It's a Europe of disharmony. It's a Europe that is a recipe for resentment, and yet, faced with all this failure, both of you said the same thing today. You said Europe isn't working, so we must have more Europe. More of the same failing. Well, there is, I think, a bright star on the horizon. It's called the British referendum. And given that none of you want to concede Britain the ability to take back control of our own borders, a Brexit now looks more likely than at any point in modern time. And I hope and pray that Britain voting to leave the European Union will be the beginning of the end of a project, however noble its original intentions, has gone rotten.
Rotten it's gone. It's gone rotten. We have a boots on the ground report from Germany.
Oh, good.
Sir Kelby Koenig, who says he's the self-proclaimed future JCD. I think it's a compliment. Hi, Adam. Fortunately, we couldn't attend the Boulder meetup this year. I had a flight that night to Germany. While traveling, I fell behind on the best podcast in the universe. Looking forward to hearing some real deconstruction. Seeing Germany and the migrants firsthand was very interesting. While in Hamburg, I saw hundreds of immigrants, he says, walking the streets. And he did exactly what a No Agenda producer was. He goes up and talks to him. So when asked about their feelings towards the mass immigration, every German citizen replied the same way. They said, these people are hurting and need help. I think this is the national guilt that Germans have from World War II. That felt good about, and that it felt good about helping others in need. Their only complaints were that senior citizens of Germany receive around 650 euros a month for Social Security. These new immigrants receive 800 euros a month, even though they've never worked in Germany in their life. It was sad to see a person in retirement digging through trash bins for plastic bottles to be recycled, a person who worked their whole life and gave to the government for their future retirement, and they have to spend any free time dumpster diving to make ends meet. The other complaint was that the reason these poor people were even traveling to the EU was because of the damn Russians. They're all in there on the Russians being all of the world's problems. That's I didn't expect that.
That's a very good report.
I didn't expect that at all. I thought it was good too. And then, of course, we have this report, which could be posturing, but it's something I expected on the heels of the Volkswagen scandal.
For so long, the world's manufacturer of choice. Germany known for quality you could trust. But is that about to change? It's a spectre raised by a shock fall in industrial orders, down 1.8% in August, despite predictions of a 0.5% rise. NAB's Nick Parsons.
Germany is doing what everyone classically does in this situation, which is to blame a lack of overseas demand. Now, this may work for one country individually, but of course in aggregate it's mathematically and logically impossible for it to be everyone else's fault.
China's slowdown is no doubt having an effect, hence Angela Merkel's visit to India in the hope they'll go some way to bridging the gap. But brand Germany is suddenly not such an easy sell, says Parsons, as the VW emissions scandal continues to deepen.
I don't think it's under threat terminally, but it's certainly tainted in the very short term. Germany, if it stood for anything, was quality and integrity. Now, the quality is undoubted. It's the integrity where there are question marks. And it'll be interesting to see the extent to which customers really do care about that, or whether they just want the quality, whatever the price, and to hell with the consequences.
Volkswagen shares fell 3% in early trading after a letter showed it had cheated emissions tests on 8 million vehicles in the EU.
Brand Deutschland in trouble.
Yeah. Interesting.
There is something good that that Volkswagen did. Volkswagen owns Porsche. And I was reading about I don't know when our producer sent this to me, reading about the 2017 Porsche 911. And let me see where I can find this. So, everyone's working on the cool in-car stuff. And we have, it's borderline tech news. Like Apple's CarPlay. And I didn't know this, but there is Android Auto. Are you familiar with this product, Android Auto?
I'm not familiar with it, but I know about it.
Okay.
Everyone's trying to get into the act.
So here's what, and I'm going to build Germany up. I'm going to build them up here. So this is Motor Trend, actually. I never read Motor Trend. No technological reason that the new 911 doesn't have Android Auto playing through its massively upgraded PCM system. What is PCM? Personal car management or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
So why doesn't it have it? As part of the agreement, any automaker has to enter with Google when you want to put Android Auto in. Porsche said certain pieces of data are required by the contract to be collected and transmitted back to Mountain View, California. Vehicle speed, throttle position, coolant, oil temp, engine revs, pretty much the entire OBD2 dump whenever someone activates Auto Android. Porsche said, nope, they're not going to do it. They did, of course, go with Apple. The only thing Apple Play needs to know is if the car is moving. So that's pretty evil, I'd say, of Google.
Well, they're just data junkies.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
And anyone who, so if you have a car with Android Auto, then you know.
Nobody does.
They will.
I don't think, not with those requirements, nobody's going to put up with that crap.
Well, let's see. We shall see.
Now, since we're talking about autos, I might as well bring in at least a little background on the crap they use in these diesel engines. Mark Lapicola, one of our producers, sent in a note because he apparently drives a diesel. And I'll read it. I've been driving truck.
Yeah, driving truck. That's how you talk about it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we discussed this last tour when I was in Idaho. I remember vividly.
And driving truck, I can't remember anything. Yeah. Since 2004. It's my experience with the dreaded DEF, the diesel exhaust fuel. What's that green stuff? Mm-hmm. In 2012, the EPA forced truck engine manufacturers to build these DEF systems into their engines. One more hoop to jump through, my slave training exercises, I guess. Trucks lost 50 gallons of fuel carrying capacity to gain a 14-gallon DEF tank. In cold winters, like 2 years ago, DEF freezes solid. The pumps of the fuel stations freeze. The 5-gallon bottle of product has to be stored inside the truck or it will freeze. And, of course, the tanks of the trucks freeze. Oh, and if you don't want to store DEF inside the cab of the truck because it stinks like piss.
Cat piss, apparently.
Because it's mostly urea. Every so often, the engine had to perform a regen, which means the truck must remain running for half an hour or so around 1,000 RPM. The truck has to be parked as well. This is all like reminds me of all these greenies. You know, they in Berkeley, they put in all these bike lanes. And so now the traffic doesn't move. And so it's just sitting there idling, pumping out all kinds of noxious gases, which wouldn't be happening if the cars were actually going from point A to point B instead of sitting there. But okay. That's my thing, by the way. I just got off track. The truck has to be parked as well. The regen is supposedly to run as the truck is moving, but that's hit or miss. The process cleans out the soot in the exhaust stack, and again, it stinks to high heaven. So much for California and New York no idle laws. Some manufacturers allow the truck to run without DEF. Others will cause the engine performance to degrade. I had this happen once in the 401 in Canada. 25 miles an hour, it was all I could do for speed. This performance hit may also occur if you decide to skip the regen procedure. I thought you might want a user perspective on DEF. So
very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Driving around with this crap.
Very nice.
I didn't know anything about it.
I didn't realize that you can fill that up at certain gas stations. I'd never seen this.
I guess if you go to a truck stop, they probably have a pump for it.
If you're driving truck, you do.
If you're driving truck. And while you're driving truck, get other truck drivers, by the way, to listen to No Agenda. It's a perfect show for truckers.
Well, we have a number of truck drivers.
They don't have enough.
Well, maybe they're just not vocal, but we have them for sure.
Cyber!
Something happened that I forgot to bring up end of August, and I was doing a bit of email back and forth with a big supporter of the show, big research supporter, Brian the Gay Crusader from Chicago.
Yeah.
And he reminded me about the takedown of rentboy.com. And we didn't talk about this, but did you?
No.
Surely you've missed it.
Yeah, I missed it.
I mean, you missed rentboy.com. Anyway.
No, I missed the story.
Yeah.
I didn't miss Rentboy.
Now, so rentboy.com has been running since 1997. And, pretty small operation, but, $10 million in revenue, according to most reports. And it's no different from Craigslist ads or what do we have? Backpage. There's lots of places, where you can hire escorts. They focus specifically on male escorts. So they were rated by federal officers.
Rentboy, I get it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Were rated by not the FBI, but Department of Homeland Security. Although FBI is, of course, involved. And they not only arrested the 7 people who are running rentboy.com, but turns out these guys were not using a data center. Stuff like this happens, I think, when you started in 1997, you do it in-house, and they were using, they had a pretty big pipe directly into their building, and they had their servers there, and the servers were confiscated. Now, This investigation started in 2013, according to all documents. And this started in the Eastern District of New York. Now, who was the U.S. attorney at the time in the Eastern District of New York?
I don't know.
Our country singer, Loretta Lynch, who is now the attorney general while this goes down.
Okay.
And she's very tight with Comey, as you can recall. They were both together. Remember they were on the stage together?
Yeah, her and Comey got something going on.
Mm-hmm. The investigation, there's kind of a parallel track here. David Geithner, who works at Gawker, I didn't know that, little Timmy Geithner's brother, had used Rentboy, Rentboy.com, to set up, some high-end hooker on a business trip, and everything's out there now. His texts back and forth. He was going to pay $2,500. It was, it's a whole like romantic setup. It's pretty embarrassing. And he's sending selfies back and forth. All of this comes through a Rentboy.com connection. So now the feds have all of the data, all of the customers, all who are registered with this Rentboy.com. I'm thinking this is a huge blackmailing opportunity.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
This is going to be, this will have fallout.
This is a good one.
So we need to keep our eye on this.
Well, keep your eye out for the database showing up on one of the wiki things or on the Tor or somewhere. Because these things.
Well, but it wasn't hacked. I mean, it was taken. It was.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it can't be
right. Leaked.
That's the word.
But can you imagine?
Because you'd want to leak it for political purposes if you needed to.
Yeah. Well, I think that's maybe why that's the sidetrack that why Tim Geithner's brother all of a sudden he's outed as using Rentboy.com. I think there's a parallel there that is important. Maybe that's kind of showing what's going on. It does reach into.
Oh, maybe what it does is it shows you what could happen.
But what he said. So. What happened was the escort that David Geithner had contacted figured out who it was, that he was Tim Geithner's brother, and this guy had some tax problem or some issue, maybe it was immigration, I don't know what it was. And David Geithner said, "Well, you know what? I'll see you in wherever he was flying to, and I'll talk to my brother about what I can do for you." So this is pretty embarrassing. Not good at all. Not good at all. So I think that's kind of that's a very subtle message out there saying, okay. So there's got to be a ton of politicians and people who really just don't want that information out there. That's worse than Ashley Madison. And the feds have it. They have it.
It's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and the FBI, of course, is since its inception, and especially during the era of J. Edgar Hoover, was pretty much of a blackmailing operation.
Well, yeah, it's in their DNA.
Yeah, it's in their DNA.
Tell me about your sexuality.
DNA.
It's in your DNA.
It'll only be used for good, though.
Mm-hmm. Big push from Facebook. I have a question for you about this.
Law student Max Schrems challenged.
Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. I'm sorry.
I like the voice.
Yeah, no, that's not the one I wanted. It's, let me see it here. Yes, this one.
This is the Amos 6, Facebook's latest salvo in the race to bring the internet to the entire world. Facebook has partnered with French telecoms company Eutelsat to share all the broadband of the Amos 6 satellite. You can see here the bits in dark orange are exactly where this particular satellite covers. So you can see just how sparse it is. Put all that together and the need for this technology is very clear.
I love the ominous music. It's really nice. They're really setting it up here. They're showing satellites flying through space over Africa.
We believe that connectivity is a human right.
The Amos 6 is the latest feature of a broader Facebook-led initiative called Internet.org, a project to connect the 4 billion people globally who still have no internet access.
Okay, we need to pick this apart for a second. Because everyone is all going goo-goo gaga eyes over, so cool. Zuckerberg's a genius. Yes. He's going to bring internet to everybody, to the masses with satellite. Let me tell you something about internet satellite. It sucks.
Yeah, it totally sucks.
It's the antithesis to the internet. The internet being a connected web or network of networks is how it works. And I'm like, why is this the only way? We've got people with iPhones in Africa. We build pipelines.
Yeah, mesh network would work down there.
You know what? Turns out that Google has been rolling out fiber like crazy. Facebook
in Africa?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, since 2012. They've been rolled the entire, it's only the coast right now, which makes sense. So they've pretty much
the west coast of Africa.
And the east coast, but not South Sudan. South Sudan is the only place that doesn't have, that the fiber is not.
I don't understand why they don't put some fiber in this area where I am.
Well, but Africans need it more.
I feel like one of those poor retired Germans digging through cans while somebody else gets all the good stuff.
I tell you what's going to happen is, Africa will have Google Fiber and we're going to be stuck with Facebook satellite. That's probably what's going to happen. But this is such a PR play by Facebook, trying to make it look cool with a clearly subpar product. I mean, I got that internet. What is it? The internet thing that you have the Raspberry Pi and it downloads the daily dump of like 100 megabytes of data. Some Kickstarter project. I forgot what it's called right now. And I said, oh, that's interesting. I mean. This you can't put this together unless you have a deep technological knowledge. There's no way. It comes in separate.
It's just a crappy publicity stunt.
Yeah, yes, it's a crappy publicity stunt, but Wall Street is falling for it.
Well, people fall for all this crap. Mm-hmm. Let's face it.
Well, I just
Nobody knows what. No one's ever tried using satellite's the worst. For connections, I mean, the really lag time. I can see how you could fake it by loading some little app in there that make it look like the thing's doing more than it is.
I mean,
while you're waiting.
Forget trying to do Skype or FaceTime or anything like that. That would be, the latency will be out of control. It'll be seconds before it goes up and back.
Latency would be seconds, literally.
Yeah. Literally. I thought I saw that was interesting.
Okay. I want to talk about the Jets. New York Jets. No, I want to talk about the Russian Jets.
Okay.
So the Russian Jets have been harassing the Turks. And there's been there's a couple of funny stories about the Jets. And every one of the network news, I'm going to do a 3x3 story here.
3x3. And it's
all the network news. The Russians, the Americans had to divert. They had to move out of the way because these Russian jets are in Syria. They're causing nothing but trouble. And only one network, and I believe it was ABC, mentioned this little tidbit, which is kind of important, it seems to me. Although MSNBC, when they broke it as a breaking news story, that Russian jets had a close encounter with an American jet in Syria.
Yes.
Close encounter. Mm-hmm. But they handled it very poorly. They put one of the producers on to talk about the story, and she just blew it up right at the beginning by telling you the truth, which was a huge blunder. So let's play U.S. encounter with a Russian jet.
Oops.
That breaking news we had for you last hour coming out of the Pentagon, where a spokesperson confirmed there has been a close encounter between a U.S. and Russian aircraft over Syria. Joining us with more information on this Pentagon and at the Pentagon is NBC News national security producer Courtney Kube. Courtney, what more have you learned?
So we know now the Pentagon is acknowledging that there was an encounter between a U.S. aircraft and a Russian aircraft over Syria in the past several days. Now, just to make it clear, they didn't come within 20 miles of one another, but the U.S. has established these rules for aircraft flying over Syria right now that until Russia and the U.S. can come to some sort of an agreement over how they will deconflict their airspace, the U.S. aircraft will not get within 20 miles of any Russian aircraft in the area. So what this meant was a U.S. aircraft came close to 20 miles of another Russian aircraft, and it had to actually divert away from its flight path, divert away from it, whatever its target was, and move out of the area so that there wouldn't be any kind of a conflict between the U.S. and the Russian aircraft.
Now, all the networks played, they left the 20 miles out of the story.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah, they left the 20 miles out. They just told you there was a close encounter. ABC, I will admit, late in the story, kind of subtly mentioned there was a 20-mile thing. But that only this woman, who's obviously didn't get the memo, just said, and by the way, it's 20 miles. 20 miles? Maybe one of those air missiles can easily hit something 20 miles away.
I mean, at those speeds, 20 miles is not, what is it, half a minute and 20 seconds?
Well, it's beside the point. 20 miles is it's not what I call a close encounter. If you want to call 20 miles a close encounter, that's like saying the moon's going, pretty close to the Earth. And it's in fact close enough to be in orbit. But this to me is bull crap. It was just somebody veered off a little bit, so they made a big story out of it. Now, that doesn't mean that the Russian guys aren't acting like dicks, because I believe that they probably are with the Turks. And this next story, which is the Russian jets in Turkey acting like dicks, may or may not be true, but whatever, I can imagine a pilot doing this. And I think they think it's funny.
The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said the Palmyra strikes killed 15 Islamic State fighters. It said another 4 Islamic State fighters were killed near Raqqa, the eastern city, which has been the group's stronghold in Syria for the last 2 years. Despite the progress, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan warned Russia against losing Ankara's friendship after Russian warplanes allegedly twice violated its airspace near Syrian border at the weekend. Moscow said the first occasion was a mistake, and it is investing the second. On Tuesday, Turkey also complained its F-16 jets were harassed and put on radar lock by an unidentified MiG-29 aircraft on the Syrian border. NATO said Moscow's explanation was unacceptable.
So one of these guys in a MiG-29 locks on a missile onto one of these F-16s. The guy freaks.
Yeah, goose.
So I personally thought it was kind of funny, but I'm sure if I was piloting...
If you're flying at Mach 1, it's not so funny.
No, it's not funny at all. But it is... I can just see these guys doing that.
Of course, it's what you do. Beep, 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 beep. Hey, I'm over here. Beep, 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 just so you know.
So the Russian jets in Turkey, the part 2 is the NATO guy. I like this clip because this is your guy. This is the guy you do, who's, I guess, the head of NATO. This
is the new guy from Finland.
This is the new guy.
Finland. I gotta hear him before I can do him.
Well, here he goes.
This is Jens. Jens is his name.
For us, this doesn't look as an accident.
Oh, we have to speak it like a Dutch guy. That's how it works. Not an accident. She's very bad. Very, very bad of the Russians.
For us, this doesn't look as an accident. This is a serious violation of the airspace.
Violation.
And actually, there were 2 violations during the weekend. So that just adds to the fact that this doesn't look like an accident. The violation lasted for a long time compared to previous violations of airspace we have seen other places in Europe.
I think he also said, as a part of that, that flying over Turkey is breaching NATO airspace, which I found curious.
Yeah,
because it's not NATO. Turkey.
Well, I think Turkey is NATO.
No, they're not NATO.
I thought they were.
No, I think they're friends of NATO.
No, they're just not in the EU. I think they're in NATO.
They might be. Hold on. Maybe I'm wrong. Is Turkey in NATO?
I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was just that they were just friends, and therefore they get some kind of... No, you're right. I'm sorry. No, they became... Okay, I'm wrong. Yeah, it's NATO airspace. Go away, stupid Russians.
Meanwhile, this report, I'm not going to play the third part of that. It's not that interesting. But let's play Russians needled the U.S. over sincerity and terrorism. I thought this was
Italian Defense Minister Roberto Pioletti. He said the U.S. will, however, conduct basic technical talks with Russia about efforts to ensure flights over Syria are conducted safely. Meanwhile, the Russian Defense Ministry says Washington's refusal to share intelligence with it about the position of the Islamic State militants shows the U.S. is looking for an excuse not to fight terrorism.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've nailed it.
Yeah.
The Russians have figured this out.
Yeah.
We don't want to fight any of this stuff. We want rebelization.
Yep.
We want ISIS to do well. The Iraqis have probably figured this out too. That's why they're inviting the Russians, and we're not talking about that.
We want ISIS to be great again.
We're this whole story that the American public's being fed is nonsense.
We have audio from the cockpit of the MiG-29 locking on to one of our fighters.
Oh my God, I just really love it.
There you go, taking a selfie.
Guy, I heard that. Yeah, that is him.
Taking a selfie. Oh, man.
Okay, I got a little entremont here.
Yeah.
So on one of the, I started the sentence off with so. On one of the morning shows on the weekend, this was clipped from The Soup, but I did just no Soup stuff, and I just clipped this one part.
Soup? Hashtag soup?
Soup.
Soup.
The Soup, the show on E.
Yes, the Soup, yeah. So meaty.
This is a clip from a show. There's apparently a club they tracked down, and just listen to this clip of the Love Laundry clip.
Uh-oh.
Maybe it's time you changed your attitude. Try to be more positive, more enthusiastic.
All right, everybody, we're going to go down and do laundry now.
More like these guys.
Bring your dirties. Yay. Load me up. There we go.
They love laundry.
Which way to the machines?
Not sure I got that one.
I thought this was right up your alley. This is the Love Laundry guys. They, for the Love Laundry tour, there's a club of men somewhere, and they have, I guess they rented a house or something, and each guy has donated or brought in some sort of antique washing machine. And so they have all these different washing machines, most of them fairly modern, not like a bunch of old crummy ones.
This is sad.
And these guys have a meeting every week amongst themselves. They bring their laundry in and they use the different machines and discuss its mechanisms.
This is very sad.
It's very nerdy. It's very funny when you. But they had this one. I remember this washing machine. I haven't seen it for years because it's kind of there's some fascinating washing machines. But there's this one they call it the Pounder. And I think it was made by Whirlpool. And it has a mechanism in the middle with some sort of like weird looking flaps on it. And it goes up and down instead of back and forth to shake up the clothes. And it just goes up and down really fast. And it just makes a pounding sound. I don't know how this thing ever lasted more than 10 loads.
I think I ordered the Pounder once from Amazon.
Bang, bang, bang.
Maybe something different. All right, I want to split up the D block, D block. I want to split up with a little bit of what's happening in the election cycle 2016, because we've seen some. I mentioned at the top of the show we had Hillary just making a sweep. Everyone's confused. Oh, how did this happen? Of course, it was very well coordinated. NBC. Now,
fake crying still is wow.
Yeah. It appears that word went out, and NBC is really helping the Obama administration get Joe Biden onto the stage and to push Hillary out or down. Couple of things that I saw that I thought were interesting. Although here is this is the town hall that Hillary did. Which was, I mean, if you have an opportunity to watch this is where she was crying. This was a very well orchestrated. Every question was softball dumb, but this one kind of caught my attention.
Well, first, I want to thank you for your candidacy. You're such a role model for women my age, and so thank you for putting yourself out there.
Thank you for your candidacy.
So in your emails, you told Senator McCluskey that you guys should go out and celebrate with something unhealthy to drink.
Yes.
So I'm wondering what your favorite celebratory unhealthy drink is.
A martini, a vodka martini. And the James Bond way, shake it.
Shaken, not stirred.
Shaken, not stirred, yes. On MSNBC, this is where it got kind of ugly.
In other words, she just drinks straight vodka.
She probably hammers it down.
Yeah.
Her face looks like it, man. Did you see the cover of the National Enquirer, what I told you about? Where they say she has six months to live? And that Bill is forcing her to do this? Is great. So,
it's a great story.
So they had this, I'm going to play it out of order, maybe more interesting. They had a focus group completely set up with shills to bash Hillary. And here's the discussion they had about it.
So New Hampshire, a more skeptical audience.
They similar on the emails. They don't like the way she handled it, but they don't think there's anything wrong with it. They don't think it should be a big deal. But that conversation, which we showed a little bit of at the end when they started talking about her personality, we showed her a video of what we thought was her at her best, giving a speech about policy and about her beliefs. And boy, they had a visceral reaction. And once that one woman suggested that she might have a personality issue, the whole room agreed. And as you saw, a show of hands, they think that's what could stop her, that she's polarizing, and there's aspects of her personality that they think men in particular won't like.
And we actually cut a good bit in there out. Yeah. That was even more negative of Hillary because we thought it was actually too negative and didn't like some of the connotations there.
So they cut out pieces because it was too negative about Hillary. Are you interested now in hearing what they said, what was left in?
I remember. I think I've seen this. This is actually quite interesting. I'm glad you clipped it because I sure didn't.
Here's the focus group.
I think my opinion is it's a little more general, just in that she speaks articulately about her positions without having that edge and that scorned kind of woman thing. That's a little off-putting.
Just talk a little bit more about that.
I think that can put off a lot of male voters.
Oh, tell me what it's like. What are you seeing that you're seeing?
You know, when she's, I don't want to use the word, but
bitch. You can
bitch. It's that like women need to be equal. I mean, I don't feel unequal.
I agree. I don't feel unequal. I don't feel that I've had a job where I feel unequal to my male counterparts. So it's not an issue that speaks to me.
It's a double standard. If it was a guy up there saying that, he would be impassioned.
Do you agree with Shannon that some people might see that?
Oh, yeah.
I like Hillary. I think she's a strong candidate, but she has that.
I don't think you have to have that.
Yeah, and she has that condescending, and I can see that causing gridlock.
You think?
She does seem like...
What person says gridlock if they're just some guy off the street? I don't think they say that.
I can see that causing gridlock.
She does seem like a little condescending.
And I don't even think it's condescending. That's like a strange word for me. I'm thinking it's more like...
bitchy.
Yeah, and I'm a woman. I deserve it.
Yeah. Who's that I'd vote for. That's my biggest problem.
I think it's not necessary.
Raise your hand if you think that could hurt Hillary Clinton's chances of getting elected.
Everybody's hand goes up.
Off a lot of men, I think. People love her or hate her, and that's part of what does that to her, is that attitude or whatever.
So condescending bitch is the consensus. And they
nailed it.
Yeah, of course. And then NBC, somehow, they get an exclusive, John. An exclusive of the powerful and personal ad urging Joe Biden to run.
This morning, the campaign calling for a Biden campaign is now up and running. Today, NBC News is getting an exclusive first look at the first pro-Biden ad.
Exclusive first look. Wait a minute. These are the guys who make ads and then buy airtime on stations to run the ads. So they gave an exclusive first look. What do you think they get? Is this a freebie, John? You think this is a freebie they get?
I doubt it. But they may have gotten a discount, or they may have gotten placement. There's placement.
I think it's a big buy. I think it's a huge buy.
Could be a big buy, and a placement. You get a free deal. You get this at the beginning. And well placed. It's got to be in a position that people listen to it.
Or maybe it's like, look, we're going to give you this. You can use it as an exclusive. Here's our media plan. And we'd really like to go with you guys, but we want to see how you do. And, could you throw in Scarborough making some fun of Hillary? That would be nice if you could do that. So they went all in. And this ad is, Joe is angelic.
To hit the air, produced in hopes of drafting the vice president into the 2016 race.
Yeah, drafting. It's a super PAC, obviously. It's real money going into real advertising to really get him to run.
All that's missing is the candidate.
You're on the cusp of some of the most astonishing breakthroughs in the history of mankind.
Woo! This powerful and personal ad produced by a group of Biden supporters with a simple message: Joe, run.
Okay. So I went to see what Joe was up to. And Joe was speaking it was the Human Rights Council, I think. And he's on the podium, big, boomy sound. I got to hand it to this guy, John. He doesn't use a teleprompter. And he's good. Whatever has happened, Joe Biden, I think he has it all. He has everything needed to dupe the Americans into voting for him. But of course, we wouldn't be no agenda if we wouldn't pick up on a couple of anomalies in his speech.
The American people are so much better than their leaders give them credit for. Not only did all of you, by the chances you have taken in your careers and your lives, not only did you set your love free, you've heard me say this before, you've set free millions of straight men and women.
John, we're free. We're free at last. Thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. Talking to gays and lesbians and transgenders and bi.
And the gays and lesbians have set the straights free.
They have set us free. And listen carefully. And again, this is all off the top of his head, pun intended.
You freed them from the stigma they feared if they spoke up and defended their lesbian or gay or bisexual or transgender.
Transgesture?
That's the one.
I like that.
This is the truth always wants to come out. And Joe Biden, this is why I love this guy. I think I love him more than Trump now. When he says transgesture, are you kidding me? That's great, because that's probably how he sees him. He's like, what is this court jester running around? Yeah, a dude with a wig. You can just see Joe saying that, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
So it slips out.
This guy's about as amenable to the gay and lesbian transgesture community, as a drunken Irishman in a New York pub.
And he's going to take credit for something, which you'll probably recall what happened.
Their lesbian or gay or bisexual or transgender brother or sister, friend, college roommate. I believe from the beginning that not only did the social disapprobation.
Disapprobation?
Wow.
I know. And this is without prompter. What does this mean?
I have no idea.
Oh, disapprobation? That's probably hate. Let's see. Strong disapproval, typically on moral grounds. Disapprobation. Dynamite word.
What did he use for a modifier?
I believe from the beginning that not only did the social disapprobation society keep so many LGBT members from coming forward, it also inhibited the tens of millions of straight people from coming forward to support. But as I said back in 2012...
Here he is. Do you remember when he trumped the president on same-sex marriage?
On 2012?
Yeah, don't you remember that? Like the president was...
Vaguely.
Yeah, and then the president did this quick sit-down with what's her name? Ross Abrams, I think. What is her name? And, and everyone was pissed off that Joe had said, same-sex marriage is great. So he's now taking full credit for it.
Back in 2012, the vast majority of the American people agreed with me with what I said and have agreed with you for a long time before then. So you left the Supreme Court absolutely no choice whatsoever. I mean this.
So he's doing something very interesting. And I have a second clip which just has a dynamite punchline at the end. His message, which I think we'll see him do, is because of the pressure that you, the American people, and in this case, it's only LGBT, but okay, the American people, you created so much pressure that the Supreme Court had no other option, which doesn't sound like this is how the Supreme Court is supposed to run.
No, and it...
But what he's doing, he's handing the citizenry on a platter saying, look, when you come into action, when you want something to change, you can do it so that the Supreme Court can't even go around you. Now, here's the one with the big punchline at the end.
There are still those shrill voices in the national political arena.
Hillary.
Trying to undo what has finally been done. But they're not going to succeed. Don't worry about it.
He almost sounds like George Carlin there. The game is rigged. Not going to succeed. Not going to happen. Very good, this. Very, very good.
Trying to undo what has finally been done. But they're not going to succeed. Don't worry about it. Really. I mean this sincerely. The American people have moved so far beyond them. And their appeals to prejudice and fear and homophobia. Woo! And because of how far you've moved the American people, the remainder of the work, and much work has to be done, I promise you, will come much more quickly and more surely It will increase in its rapidity the change that we need.
Another good rapidity. This guy is dynamite, John. This is all off the cuff. There's no paper. There's no nothing. It's great.
I strongly support the Equality Act, and it will pass. It will pass. It may not pass this Congress. It will pass because it's simple and it's straightforward. The American people think the law already prevents an employer from firing someone because they are LGBT. The American people already think it's illegal to deny you housing. The American people already think what the act calls for. The problem is they don't know that it's still legal.
Listen to the cadence and the buildup of this. Are you not impressed? I'm really impressed by this.
I just think, well, go on, play it. I'm not. Joe can give a speech, but that's not what the problem is with him.
Okay, well, wait for the punchline then.
Many places. So the one way, if you could change this overnight, would be to infuse in every mind in America that there are still 31 states.
So he was prepared. He had all the data.
That can deny you employment and housing, etc. We just have to. So, look, I'm not your staff, but I'm kind of like your staff. Here's the deal. I've told this to Chad. A lot of you are very successful women and men. Put your money into advertising, not about other people. Let them know it's illegal in their state.
Put your money into advertising? Are you kidding me, John? This guy is all in. He's saying, buy ads for me.
To deny someone a job based on race. Let them know. The American people are already with you. Look at the numbers. There's homophobes still left. Most of them are running for president, I think.
Come on. That was good.
Yeah, you get impressed by these guys.
I'm
Joe
impressed.
still has a couple problems.
Well,
he's a drunk. And he'll be given that same speech hammered, and it won't be quite as slick as it was.
It'll be great for the show.
I think he was half in the bag on that speech, to be honest about it. That's where he came up with his transgesture. It's a transgesture. I'm telling you. I think he can hold his liquor.
You think he's drunk or not drunk, huh?
I think he was drunk during that speech, but he wasn't at his edge where he's gone.
I think
where he's completely just.
I like him. I think what can Hillary do? Hillary is supposed to be the LGBT.
I think Hillary wants him to run.
She should come out and say she's bisexual.
Let's hear this out. Hillary is Hillary. She is a force to be reckoned with. Mm-hmm. If she can get Joe to run, Joe's just not going to take any. He's not going to take much from her. He's going to kill Bernie Sanders. Yeah. And the two of them are going to have a little fist fight verbally at the debates, and not the first one, but maybe the second one. And then Sanders will be taken down a notch or two, and it'll be Hillary will rise above it. This is a Hillary play. Hillary wants Joe to run. Every time they ask her about this, in fact, I don't have any clips of this, but I've seen it over and over again. What do you think about Joe Biden running? Joe's a good friend of mine. I don't want to talk about it. We'll see what happens if he gets in the race. And she's just very amenable about Joe running. Doesn't discourage, doesn't encourage. She's so neutral, it's ridiculous. So I think Joe is going to be talked into it. There's been a lot of...
I think he's already in. I think he's in.
Well, then he probably is, or he wouldn't be giving these speeches.
I think he'll be at the CNN debate, which they're now touting like a boxing match. Have you seen the promos for this thing?
It's not going to draw anybody unless Trump becomes a Democrat.
Yeah, they're trying, though. They're so clueless over there. They think that Hillary Bernie is going to be a fun show. Yeah, no.
That remains to be seen.
Yeah, no. Of course it's not going to be a fun show, but they think that they're probably pre-selling the ad slots for the pre and post analysis like crazy.
The thing that people like about Trump during these debates and during his speeches is that he goes after guys. He calls them weak.
Yeah.
He calls them dipshits.
Yeah.
He calls them stupid.
Yeah.
He goes on, and that's entertaining, and people will go watch that. You got Bernie Sanders won't say a bad thing about Hillary, period. And Hillary won't say a bad thing about Bernie. It's going to be a love fest. Who wants to watch that?
No, it's going to suck.
It'll totally suck.
That's why you need to bring Joe in. He's the wild card for the show.
Well, that might help.
Joe for the show.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda. In the morning.
Now, we had a note from someone that PayPal will not allow me to make a one-time $30 donation. It keeps changing it to $20.
Thanks,
so
PayPal.
It's a check.
Huh.
But I never heard this from anybody.
Huh.
So PayPal's like, now, 20.
Strange.
But we want to thank a few other people. To tune Totenel, I think. Is that Tutenel? It's Dutch.
Tone. Yeah, we had him before. Tone Tutenel.
Tone Tutenel.
Yeah.
In $100.01 from Amsterdam.
Very nice.
It says, I hit my friend, colleague Mark in the mouth, and although he called me a douchebag in last week's episode.
Right, there we go.
There you go.
I very much appreciate you throw him a lot of karma. He's recently been hit in his head by something else.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Yeah, of course we'll do that. Of course.
Put that at the end. Mark Roos in Amsterdam.
Roos. Rolling R.
Mark Roos in Amsterdam.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's a random number again. This is random number day. Two guys in Amsterdam, both the same, pretty much the same donation, 101 and 100, at the same time. Don Silva.
And he also, I'm sorry, he also has a F Cancer shout out.
Put that
to. He says he's going to eventually make it to Sir Cancer Survivor. Very nice.
Sir Don Silva in Hawaii writes, came in with $100 again. Hawaii Public Radio reminded me that I gave them $100 6 months ago. They were asking for another donation. It's supposed to be annually, but they have been coming at me every 6 months. I may be listening to them for a total of 30 minutes in the last year. Listening to you guys, I decided that you deserve way more than they do. They deserve it way more than they do. So here it is, $100 to the best podcast in the universe. There you go.
Nice. Thank you.
Luke Fitzgerald in Tigard, Oregon. Or Tigard. I never can remember. That's where Mellon Son's from. Or Duke. 9188. Sir Marshall in Grand Forks, North Dakota, 8948. Brian Klimzak in Elwood, Illinois, 73. Oh, I'm sorry. He's 8928 in Naperville, Illinois. And then Sir Zog of Elwood, Illinois, 7373.
73s, KF5 SLN.
Eddie V in Pottersbury, North Hampshire, UK, 5513. Clyde Myers in Columbus, Indiana, 5510. Christopher McClymont in Erskineville, New South Wales, 5432. Craig Knowsley in Cumberland, BC, right by Spuzzum, I believe. 5150. Baron DH.
Hold on. He has a douchebag call out.
Oh, you get douchebag. Okay, you had me at Airstream of Consciousness. May I kindly request a douche bag call out?
He has a de-douching and a call out to Gerhardus Hendricks and Dr. Mike, both as douchebags.
Douchebag.
Got it.
That should be two douchebags.
Yeah.
Douchebag.
And a de-douching if you want to be.
You've been de-douched.
There we go. Done.
I don't know. Baron D.H. Slammer and Baronet Bang Bang, 5130. There's anything in there.
Let's see. Aggregate donation of 10.26 times each of the 5 family human resources, including the Baron, the Baronet, Lady Simona, Master Andrew, and Master Emmett. Very nice.
Jim Moser in Parts Unknown as an FPO somewhere.
And he's a longtime boner, first-time donor. And he says, what is it? Do you have a douchebag call out here?
Yeah, he does. Get a douchebag call out for Tony Andrew in Okinawa. Douchebag. He hit me in the mouth long ago, and I don't believe he's ever donated.
All right.
Jan van der Laan in Assen. 50. Now, these are all $50 donors. This is we have a short list today. Jonathan Mayer in Xenia, Ohio. Tim Abel in Burkfield, Berkshire, UK. A lot of UKs today. Alexander Sokovi in Sukovy in Moscow. Corey McDonald in Richfield, Minnesota. Christopher Walker in De Pere, Wisconsin. And that closes our segment here of the donors for show 763.
And we have a make good 203.33 from Freya Falson Ray. It should have been credited to Michael Folson. Let's see, because it went through his daughter's PayPal. It's very complicated sometimes when you don't use your daughter's PayPal. But okay.
You're taking money from the kid's piggy bank.
That's not good. You can't do that. Then I wanted to just pick one out under the $50 level from Jared Hall, who was a frequent donor. Made a donation of $20.52 to cover the cost of 2 donations for the 8-year anniversary show for both me and my best friend, Sam Dank. He hit me in the mouth around show 646, and ever since then, we can't help but laugh at current events. We don't mind being called spooks. In fact, it's a right of privilege at this point, and a title I hope to include in my knighthood someday. I guess these are the guys from Virginia. So they are spooks.
They could be.
I like it. It's good.
A lot of spooks in Virginia.
That's good for me. I like it.
We get mixed reviews on the spook moniker. We don't use it normally. Yes, we do. But
we do.
We get different feedback from different members of the intelligence community. Some people find it offensive. Some people think it's funny. Other people don't give a crap, which is the majority. And I don't know.
I wonder what is the current term then for? Are they all PC now as well? You can't call them spooks. You have to call them.
I don't know. We've never gotten any good input on
intelligence workers or something. Is that what you have to do?
Intelligence workers. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Intelligence engineer.
But I presume HQ is still called the Pickle Factory. Until I hear otherwise, I'm going to.
Well, that's what it says.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We will have a show on Sunday. Very important you help us at.
Wouldn't it be funny, by the way?
Sorry.
I said it would be funny if you went into the HQ and they took you, and there was a closet full of these crocks
of pickles,
making pickles.
Yeah. No, I don't think it would be funny.
I think it'd be very funny because you can get a free pickle. I bet.
Okay, I'm gonna close out the segment. John.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And as promised,
you've got karma.
All right, thank you all very much. We'll have another show on Sunday. Please remember us. Loida Rivera celebrating on October 10th. Michael Falson, happy birthday to friend Gibby, celebrating on October 3rd. And finally, James Dobler, producer for today, 33 on October 9th. Happy birthday from all your buddies here at the best podcast in the universe. Then, of course, we have one title change. No, I'm sorry. We have Sir Gene becoming the Duke of the Southern United States. Baron Sander Huxbergen becomes a Viscount today. Very nice. And Sir Black Balls of Twit becomes a baronet. And we congratulate all of you. And then I think we do have our one knighting here. Yes, this is, let me see. We've got to get the Haro. Yeah. yeah, there it is. All right. James Dobler, please, sir, stand up and be recognized. We are very proud to accept you into the table of the round with the knights and the dames, the No Agenda Round Table. And hereby pronounce the KD. Sir Dobler, Knight of the No Agenda Round Table for you. We have Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay, Root Beer and Legos, Hookers and Molly, Malted Barley and Hops, Puppies and Taylor's Vintage Port, Cuban Cigars and Single Malt Scotch, Wenches and Beer, Geishas and Sake, Vodka and Vanilla, Bong Hits and Bourbon, Sparkling Cider and Escorts, Breast Milk and Pablum, and obviously always for the lovers, Mutton and Mead. And go to noagendanation.com/rings.
I love the Mutton and Mead.
Hey, I wanted to mention just briefly, just tying into our model for a moment.
Okay.
That, we don't have any advertising. We talk about anything we want. We could do whatever we want. We have no masters other than the actual producer of the program.
Someone.
Well, yeah.
Can't do that.
If you've been following DraftKings.com, their insider trading.
Yeah.
These guys spend a lot of money on podcast advertising.
Oh, I didn't notice this.
Oh, yeah. They've a big podcast, too, like Joe Rogan,
I've said this on Horowitz, and I talked about these guys. The DraftKings and the other one, there's two operations that are running parallel.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, a lot of it turns out I think DraftKings is owned by a bunch of they got deals with NBC. I don't even know
they advertise on Howard Stern.
They also are partly owned by Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys and Kraft of the team in Boston. Their ownership is deep into the sports world. They have deals with the Major League Baseball. I don't know they're paying full ticket for these ads, DraftKings and the other one, whatever it's called. But these guys are just going crazy. I would, if they were advertising, if I was getting money from them for an ad, I would demand payment on the immediate payment. I wouldn't go.
What I'm interested in,
60 days.
What I'm interested in, just to prove a theory, I would like people to find podcasts covering this story that take advertisers from DraftKings.
I don't think there'll be a podcast in the world that would cover the story.
Absolutely. Will there be? Not a single one. And this is exactly the point. Now, it's just fantasy football. It's insider trading. It's $1 billion. But I don't see any of these big podcasts are saying, oh, well, these guys are doing this. I don't see that.
Why would they?
Exactly. That's the point.
No, they're not going to say anything. You're just biting the hand that feeds you.
Exactly.
That's why we ask for donations directly from our... Exactly. Now, this came up in the conversation. This really bothered me.
You mean the conversation?
The conversation. Somebody brought up and I noticed this on Twitter, and somehow it's become a meme. Oh, if anyone says, I hate it when people say that you're the product. If you're not you're not the product. That's bull. It's bull. And so they've been trying to condemn the notion that if you're getting something for free, you're the product because you're being sold to the advertisers. And there's been 2 or 3 essays written about it.
Why do people hate it when that's being said? Why do they hate it?
Because they got advertising going on. I haven't seen anyone that, as for straight support, say anything like this. Let me go back and explain it again. I first heard about this idea and knew about this idea when I was working at Ziff Davis, and I knew Bill Ziff, who was the king of special interest publishing. And he came up with the formulas and perfected the idea of he had, magazine like Boating and Flying and Bridesmaid, Modern Bride, and all these. I think he had one of the brides.
How about QR, what is it? Is it QRZ? Yeah, the ham radio magazine, same thing.
So you have these specialty magazines, and the idea was that you cultivate an audience that's very specific. And in PC Magazine, for example, would always really condemn when you had an editor come in and say, I think we should have more articles for beginners. And they would just almost get fired on the spot for even thinking that way, because you don't want beginners. You want a certain group of very high-end readers that you can package. You package the readers, and you hand them to an advertiser and say, look what we've got. We have got this audience, and that's why they do studies on how much money you make and how much college you had and all this stuff, so you can back it up. Oh, and they're all very educated, and they go to this show and they go to that show. Look, here they are. We're selling them to you. Give us $50,000, which is what a one-page ad cost in PC Magazine during its heyday. And so they, I'll give you 10 of these ads. Here's $500,000 because we want to talk to these people. And that's what they want to do. They wanted to put an ad in the magazine that talked specifically to this audience that was created for the purposes of selling to the advertiser. You are the product. I don't see how it could be any simpler than that.
So let me understand this. If you follow that formula, and that's still a very successful formula, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So if you had, let's say you had a tech show, then to really succeed, you should have lots of technology-based advertisers, which is the antithesis of what people want, what producers say they will do.
Well, I'll tell you this story if people want the inside stuff, because Bill Ziff had this theory. And he believed that any of his magazines, Modern Bride, PC Mag, any of them, that if you're reading Modern Bride or Today's Bride or whatever the magazine was, huge, by the way, if you're reading that magazine, he believed that everything in that magazine should be about being a bride. All the advertising should be about bride related. And the same thing with PC Magazine. When you open PC Magazine, you would see nothing but ads for computers, computer products,
bits
services,
and pieces, yeah,
all kinds of stuff. The idea was, and because it was brought up, like the sales guys don't want this; they want to sell ads. So they'd always bring up and get fired for doing it if they push too hard. They'd bring up, we can get it. We can get an average. We can get Ford. We can have Ford come in. We can have General Motors wants to buy a bunch of ads in PC Magazine. Why did you never see any ads from General Motors in PC Magazine? Because it violated the principle that you wanted immersive readership. You want the reader immersed in the technology. And the idea was, because you're thinking about technology, because all the articles are about technology and all new stuff and reviews, you are more open to now accepting an ad when it comes your way in the magazine, saying, maybe I'll buy that. But it would take you out of the world. It's like Disneyland. They put a berm all around Disney World or Disneyland because they don't want anyone seeing outside the little world they've created. You take them out of the world when you put the Ford ad in there or a cigarette ad or anything. So, whoa, Ford, now you have to get back into the world. It's too hard. Right. So you don't run those sorts of ads. The people who do podcasts about technology should only, by this theory, have advertisers
for technology products.
Yeah, and they don't.
That's my point.
Yeah, it's dumb.
They don't because they have some, why they don't is dumb, I guess. I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of reasons why they say they don't, but this is what you want to do.
Right.
But they don't do it because of this and that.
Some holier than
Well, there's a lot of that, but that never works out.
No.
But advertising is bad no matter what. And when anybody says that, well, they did the best job they could at PC Magazine to keep one thing separate from another. And they borderline fire anybody who was mingling with the sales guys.
Right.
Now, I love mingling with the sales guys because I learn all these sales
because they have discretionary budgets for strippers.
And they have big budgets to buy
for strippers.
Let's get this expensive bottle of wine. And so I'm always hanging out with the sales. But I was always a contractor, and I made it clear that I was doing this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not approved. You shouldn't be hanging out with the sales guys, because they always think they're going to do a sweet deal. If you write about this, But I never did any of that because I tend to write about trends anyway.
Right.
But it's a very interesting structure, the whole thing. But I can tell you this. Advertising for the kind of work we do is impossible. It's impossible because we cannot afford to have anything influencing our coverage and deconstruction of these stories. And that's why we ask for your help.
Exactly. I was going to save this for Sunday, but maybe I should bring it in now. We were talking about I can't even say it. Blockpocalypse. The ad blockpocalypse?
Blockpocalypse.
What? So ad block plus, right on the heels of the new Google CEO, has come out with their request. So they are going to start allowing ads to come through the ad blocker, as I predicted.
Yeah, you did predict this.
And they have now on their website the requirements for acceptable ads.
There's no acceptable ads if you're using ad block or you're blocking for a reason.
And they are going to take a nominal fee from advertisers, as they state, a nominal fee.
This is a form of extortion. They should be very careful. I think this is racketeering.
Well, in fact, I think I can prove it's racketeering, and I'll show you why in a minute. Do you want to run down the quick list of what is an acceptable ad?
No, I'd love to hear this.
Okay. Point 1, static advertisements only, no animation, sounds, or similar. Preferably text only, no attention-grabbing images. Now, they say preferably, so there's a hedge there.
Yeah.
Ad placement. Ad should never obscure page content. For pages featuring a reading text, ads should not be... For pages featuring a reading text, ads should not be placed in the middle where they interrupt the reading flow. However, they can be placed above the text content, below it, or on the sides. The same applies to search result pages. Paid search results cannot be mixed with organic results. Hello, Google. When ads are placed above the content of a main page, it should not require the user to scroll down. The available vertical space should be 700 pixels. Advertising should not occupy more than 1/3 of that height. When placed on the side, ads should leave enough space for the main content. The available horizontal space should be expected to be at least 1,000 pixels. Advertising should be clearly marked as such with the word advertising or its equivalent, and should be distinguishable from page content, for instance, via a border or a different background color. Marking and placement requirements do not apply for hyperlinks with affiliate refer IDs. And that goes on and on and on. What I found interesting...
Those are all... That is not going to make any ad work.
No, but what I found interesting was the Acceptable Ads Manifesto.
Oh.
Go to acceptableads.org. We, the undersigned being Reddit, DuckDuckGo, ShareThought, AdBlock Plus, of course, customer
Give me that
comments.
URL again, I'm sorry.
Acceptableads.org.
Okay.
And they have a manifesto. So this is the user side. They're saying this is users who have a manifesto where we will accept as an acceptable ad. So they're using the same language. This is our manifesto. 1, acceptable ads are not annoying. 2, acceptable ads do not disrupt or distort the page content we're trying to read. 3, acceptable ads are transparent with us about being an ad. Acceptable ads are transparent with us about being an ad. 4, acceptable ads are effective without shouting at us. 5, acceptable ads are appropriate to the site we are on. And it goes on and on and on. But here's the thing. I did a who is on, because it doesn't say exactly who this acceptableads.org is. The who is, this website is registered to Vladimir Palant, who is the lead developer for AdBlock Plus. That's racketeering right there. So they're pretending to be the good guys on acceptable ads, and they're also running the consumer manifesto. Give me a break.
Huh.
There's a column in there somewhere for you, John.
Yeah, you're right.
There's a column in there.
Well, I am very disappointed in I would call this legal racketeering.
Yeah.
Unless the district attorney or somebody gets on this. But I would say that this is very disappointing because I like the product.
AdBlock Plus?
Use it, yes.
Oh, well, you're going to start seeing acceptable ads show up.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Well, these acceptable ads, I will say this. This is one thing. I'll give them credit for this. They're ineffective. Those ads are no good.
That's exactly. Who wants an ad that doesn't shout or have flashy images?
This ad's not going to work. So what you're going to have to do for advertising in the future, if you're going to get through all this stuff, because these guys are going to block anything that's actually effective, which amounts to it, and the other ads aren't going to work. No one's going to do them. So these guys aren't going to clean up on this great idea.
No.
Everything has to go toward native advertising. And that's
I disagree. Google is selling some product where they're saying, it compresses your website pages, but it also then encapsulates your advertising in Google's safe advertising way.
Well,
which
they
can't be
advertise
blocked.
Google. I'm dropping Google from the discussion.
Okay.
I'm talking about content sites other than Google that had to have stories. The New York Times Online, the Politico. These things.
I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying, though. Google is selling a product that will effectively turn your website into a website that cannot be blocked by ad blockers because it's all from the same URL. It's the Google system. And they'll change it to whatever your domain name is. And it all comes under the guise of it'll load faster. And then they determine you can't use JavaScript or some versions of CSS. They're fighting.
You're making the assumption that everyone's going to buy into this.
No, I'm just telling you what's going on. I'm not making any assumption.
Well, this is all bad.
For who? For advertisers. For advertisers.
It's bad for advertisers. Advertisers is bad for advertisers, bad for the users. It's just bad. This whole advertising thing on the internet is it still hasn't shaken itself out.
It won't. It's not going to work. Long term, it doesn't work. I've never believed in it.
Well, it has to work on something.
Yeah, the only thing that works is like spam. Spam still works as long as you can, scatter enough. Then people pick it up. People are dumb, click on things. People are sometimes interested. But you have to have the flashy image. Yeah, that doesn't work otherwise.
Yeah, people just block it out with their own brain. They don't even need ad blocker.
Yeah. I took your advice, and I watched a couple nights worth of Jimmy Kimmel. You said that was the best late night talk show.
It is.
And I, Fallon, okay, whatever. Colbert, he better find his voice. That's his problem. And he has to find his voice.
No, he's still doing that character.
He's got to amp it up. He's really got to go big time back to the character. That's his problem. But okay.
Well, okay, you can go through the character. That's possible.
But then Jimmy Kimmel did something I liked a lot, and I just haven't had the opportunity to talk about Donald Trump's tax plan, which I read. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it or if you even heard about it.
Yeah, I got most of it.
Any initial comments?
No, none.
You're not for or against?
It's not what you know what I'm for? Wealth tax. If it's not about wealth tax, I don't care.
Well, he has a wealth tax in there.
It's a wishy-washy wealth tax.
But Kimmel did something that I liked a lot because it's a variation, an honest variation on the man on the street interview. Now, we know if you do man on the street, you interview 100 people, you pull the 4 funniest out that you want to make your point with, and then you air that, right? That's how it works. Well,
yes, and before you go on, because I watched a lot of Kimmel, and his man on the street things, which include that clip that you've been playing, which is part of one of his man on the street bits, are varied. He has a number, maybe 20 or 30 variations on how he does the man on the street. It's approaching as close to genius in this one little man on the street bit. I mean, when Leno was doing, he had the one bit, jaywalking.
Right.
And then he tried to change it to something else, but jaywalking was the only thing that worked. Kimmel has a number of different ideas. He's got a very good writing crew, I have to say.
So the plan here was we're going to go out, we're going to first establish people are all in Hillary bots, and then we're going to say, what do you think of her tax plan? But instead of it being Hillary's tax plan, which I don't think she has one announced yet, they took pieces from Trump's tax plan.
That's one of his bits.
Are you a Hillary Clinton supporter?
Yes, I am.
I like Hillary Clinton. Yeah, I support her.
I'm a Hillary Clinton supporter. Well, for one, it's definitely time that we have a woman in the White House.
Well, I think a female president would be a great idea.
Are you a Hillary Clinton supporter?
I sure am.
What about Donald Trump?
Next.
No, you don't support Donald Trump at all?
I do not.
Would you be able to support anything about Donald Trump?
In short, no.
Donald Trump, nah, not so much.
I feel cold towards Donald Trump.
You wouldn't support Donald Trump?
No.
Okay, and would you support Hillary Clinton's plan to cut the corporate tax rate from 35% to 15%?
I think that's a good idea.
Do you support Hillary's plan to eliminate the estate tax?
Yes, I do support that.
Do you support her plan to eliminate taxes for those who make less than $25,000 a year?
I would support that, yes.
Do you support her plan to eliminate the alternative minimum tax?
Alternative minimum tax? Yeah, I support that.
Do you support her plan to eliminate the estate tax?
Yes.
And what would you say if I told you those are all Donald Trump's proposals?
I would say he's a pretty smart man. I feel stupid.
I would say that that's shocking. But I mean, if it is, I'm still not voting for Donald Trump. He's a caricature.
What would you say if I told you those are all Donald Trump's policies?
Oops. Did you hear that programming? Did you hear the mind control kick in on that woman?
Uh-huh.
That was fantastic. All of a sudden, you can almost hear the switch flip.
I would say that that's shocking. But I mean, if it is, I'm still not voting for Donald Trump.
Click. I'm still not voting for that. He's a character.
The caricature.
What would you say if I told you those are all Donald Trump's policies?
I wouldn't believe you.
They are.
Well, I support Donald Trump then.
Now, the black man is smart. I'll support Donald Trump then. It sounds like a good deal to me. I like that. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, he does a bunch of those things. The one that I had the clip of, where I took that little sub clip, is another example of what he does with the man on the street. And in this case, he sets up a premise of some sort. In this case, the premise is a question. It's not always a question, but in this case, it's a question. And he asked the question of the person on the street, and then the audience is required to say yes or no whether this person is going to answer it a certain way. And in this case,
I've seen that. Yeah.
And he asked, and there's two. I only have two examples on here. Maybe there's a third, but there's two. But the second one is priceless. The first one's got that screwball, and I just want to play it so you can hear the where it came from. But the premise is, or the question is, have you taken a selfie of yourself today? Which I would think is this is like, to me, is an indictment of society. But okay,
it's like, are you an asshole? Could be the question.
Yes. And so the guy, they stop the clip and they say, is he going to say yes or no? And they all say, yeah, no. And they generally get it pretty correct. But you have to listen to this clip because there's this woman comes on after this character. And it's just kind of something you only get in Los Angeles.
Next up, I'm Brian Eubank, and I'm from Corona, California. Boring place.
Have you posted a selfie today?
What about Brian? All right, well, wow. A resounding yes. Let's see. Yes, I have. What is a bomb selfie? I look great. I know, look how gracious we look, right? Oh my God. I just really love it. That's what everyone in the...
We're doomed, by the way. We're fucking doomed, John. It's over. It's over.
Bad. That's what everyone in the rest of the country thinks everyone in LA sounds like, right? All right, next.
Hi, what's your name and where are you from?
My name is Heidi Odette Schertzinger. I'm originally from Cinnaminson, New Jersey.
Heidi, have you posted a selfie today?
Has Heidi posted a selfie today? All right. Well, let's find out.
I challenged Evel Knievel in 1974 when he failed to jump over Snake River Canyon.
Was that real? Was he just a kook?
She's a great kook. Listen, you had to listen to it from the beginning because it's just like, what?
Roll it back a second. That's cool. He's great.
Over Snake River Canyon. Somebody made a campaign issue out of me, so I never got to jump.
So
but all of this can be verified.
So that's a yes.
Yes.
All right, there we go. All right, and let's get back on.
All this can be verified. What has she got?
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah, I came across a little clip, and this was kind of and we got 10-minute warning here. We got to stop. This is I'm sure you saw the drunk kid who was demanding his jalapeno mac and cheese. Everyone was laughing about it.
Yeah, everybody had that all over the place.
Whatever. Okay. But we complain about millennials, and we complain that they're of all their problems. And I ran across this clip from Dragnet. When did this run? Is this like 60s?
Dragnet?
50s, 60s? When did it run?
I think it went through the transition from black and white to color. So I think it was probably mid 50s to close to the 70s. It was on for a long time.
I don't know when this episode came out. It is in color, so it's probably not one of the early ones. And they pick up some hippie scum kid, which we would, I think kind of back then, damn hippies. Was that kind of analogous to what we call damn millennials?
No, as much the hatefulness of the hippies in the late 60s, which is probably when this and through the 70s was extremely high.
Well, isn't there hate for millennials?
Not the same.
Well, we have a good start.
The millennials are rather lovable.
Noodle boy. I just 2 words, noodle boy.
Yeah, they're lovable.
So here's Joe Friday lecturing the hippie kid, and I just thought it was interesting to hear the similarities between what we complain about regarding millennials versus this probably late 60s hippie kid.
People are free today to make their own mistakes because of it, and that may just include you.
I don't know. Maybe part of it's the fact that you're in a hurry. You've grown up on instant orange juice. Flip a dial, instant entertainment. Dial 7 digits, instant communication. Turn a key, push a pedal, instant transportation. Flash a card, instant money. Shove in a problem, push a few buttons, instant answers. But some problems you can't get quick answers to, no matter how much you want them. We took a little boy into Central Receiving Hospital yesterday. He was 4 years old. He weighs 8.5 pounds. His parents just haven't bothered to feed him.
It sounds very similar to today.
Yeah, it does. It's universal.
Except for the instant orange juice. I didn't realize that was an issue. instant entertainment, flash a card, get some cash, 7 digits, dial a number. Crazy town.
Huh. Yeah, I think you can get a lot of. I should start looking for more of those since I have a collection of all that crap I've been archiving.
You do?
Well, not Dragnet necessarily, but they're pretty accessible.
But what are you collecting if it's not Dragnet?
Oh, mostly radio shows from the 40s. I'm an OTR guy.
Oh, nice.
All right. I have one last joke clip if you want something kind of funny. I have a longer clip, which I can move to the next show.
I also have the Cruz, we'll do it on Sunday, Cruz slamming the Sierra Club president, which was...
Okay, I'd like to hear that. And my clip, which is the long one we moved to Sunday, is the most... This is on CBS Network News. The most sweetened report I have ever heard on any news broadcast.
I need to hear this now. I can't wait till Sunday.
It's pretty long. This is a 2 megabyte file.
Yes.
But it's just sweetened to death.
That is
Holly Williams, and she's giving this report. She's not even there. She's in Istanbul. And this report is like...
No, wait. You know what? You're right. Save it for Sunday, and then we will replicate the report with our own sweetening.
Oh, so the challenge is that each of us have to do one report with lots of sweetening?
No, we'll do it together, and then we'll
I think we should produce it.
That's what I mean. We'll produce a sweetened clip. Okay, We'll play yours. We'll play it now.
No, not on Sunday.
No, why don't we play it now? Then people can even help us with the sweetening.
Okay.
You know what? Warn the affiliates we're going late.
To seize the military initiative from the United States. Russian warships fired dozens of missiles in support of the Assad dictatorship. Russian bombers hit rebels, some of them backed by the United States. The U.S. has been bombing Syria for a year, attacking the ISIS extremists. Holly Williams is covering.
Russia says it launched 26 cruise missiles today from its warships on the Caspian Sea. They flew over 900 miles across Iran and Iraq, hitting parts of northern Syria, where both ISIS and Al-Qaeda-linked fighters have a heavy presence. Russian President Vladimir Putin said the high-precision Kalibr missiles, used for the first time, reflected good preparation and training by his country's military. But the US says Moscow's airstrikes in Syria are also targeting moderate American-backed rebels, and that Russia's real goal in Syria is to prop up the regime. Protected by Russian air cover, regime troops began a ground offensive today in rebel strongholds. Opposition fighters hit back in some of the most intense fighting in several months. But after 4 years of bloody civil war, Russia's air campaign may be tipping the balance in favor of the Syrian regime. Russia's military buildup in Syria now also includes a battalion of ground troops, according to the US ambassador to NATO. And Scott, that is despite Russian assertions that it will not use ground troops in its operations inside Syria.
And the U.S. said those Russian troops are equipped with their top-of-the-line tanks and artillery. Holly Williams reporting from Istanbul tonight. Holly, thanks.
Wow.
There was not one moment. I mean, she came out of it obviously to do the live hit, but during their report, there was not one moment of silence.
Well, here's what they missed. They didn't have this song in it. I think I missed a great opportunity to put the hit song in.
I don't know if they know to do that.
Well, I think they missed an opportunity with that.
Well, we can use it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to work on that for Sunday's show. Also on Sunday's show, we do have some. We've got some more. We'll have tech news, of course. There's a couple things I've been working on.
Okay.
We'll do our best. As usual.
We do our best.
We do.
As usual.
As usual. Exactly. Oh, I'm going to go to the vape convention in Houston.
You're going to drive down to Houston? You're going to take the trailer?
No. I'm just going to drive. Dexter's in town. You know, Dexter's a big vape mogul now in Europe.
God.
Yeah.
Does he have one of those supercharged vapes? That
Oh yeah. He has one of those. Yeah, he has one of the big modded ones. It'd be great.
He's like a car battery.
Yeah. So I will bring back a report from the vape convention.
You will
in the vape convention. Dexter says it's kind of a cross between Comic-Con and a porn convention.
Wow, that sounds cool. Take pictures.
Yeah, Tina the Keeper not thinking it's so funny, but...
Well, take pictures. Have her take pictures.
Pictures will be taken.
And I'll put them in the newsletter. When is this convention?
It's I'm going tomorrow.
Oh, okay. You have pictures for the newsletter.
I'll have pictures for the newsletter.
All right.
Until then, everybody, coming to you from downtown Austin, Texas in the morning, my name's Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, my name is John C. Dvorak.
We'll be back on Sunday right here on No Agenda.
Tell your fake internet girlfriend you're going to be AFK for about 10 minutes because it's motherfucking science time.
Oh my God, I just really love it.
Well, first, I want to thank you for your candidacy.
While I'm tapping off laughing, this is what I'll say.
Fuck the EU. Fuck the EU. Fuck the EU. Fuck the EU.
No, exactly.
Fuck the EU.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
You're saying yeah, while you're saying no.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, you know.
Yeah, no.
I don't know why you're saying yeah while saying no.
Yeah, no.
You know, you know.
Yeah, no.
I don't know why you're saying yeah while saying no.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
Adios, mofo.
And wash your hands after touching any raw meat.
Dvorak.org/NA